Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and it's Tuesday, and we are live. If you want to talk about Michael Penix Jr., you're in the right place because today, that is the main focus of today's show. There's been a lot of conflicting reports around what the Raiders think of the Washington quarterback, and we're going to kind of take a little bit of a deep dive because Vic Tafur had some interesting things. ESPN had some interesting things about what the Silver and Black think of the Washington quarterback. So we're going to take a deep dive into all of that type of stuff. And then with the NFL draft being now 9 days away, and I know this. I'm just at this point ready to get into the draft. I'm kind of done with the mock drafts, the speculation. I just want to see what the Raiders actually do during the 2024 NFL Draft. If you don't know it, Chugs and I are going to be live, so make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're tuned in for our live coverage. But we're also going to be breaking down some Raiders draft targets today. I'm going to be looking at some players that the Silver and Black could target in round 2, pick 44. And then since every year I feel like I've done this show, I get it, new regime, new whatever. Feel like the Raiders always in the first round take somebody that we don't really see coming. So we're going to play a fun little game today of 5 surprising picks that the Raiders could do at number 13. Super chat coming in from Isaac. Raiders! What's up, Isaac? I see David, Gatling Gun. Where are you watching from? Who's rocking with me today? What up, Chad Smith, diehard Raider fan 365, Texans versus, all right, Sienna Madley. What's up, unknown Raider guy. Juan Hernandez, Mike, Mr. Raider Sancho. I wore the Michaela jersey yesterday. Robert Jansen, Ron Raspberry. What's up, Knight? Buckethead. I got a bunch of real ones in the chat. Camacho, rocking from Cali. Anthony Vigil from Salt Lake City. The 408 from Guy Does Pyrotechnics. I know that the nation spreads far and wide. Shout out to Luis Rodriguez, one of our OGs here on the Raiders Report as well. We got 400 people in the comment section. If you haven't already, make sure you click that like button and also make sure you give a nice little warm welcome to my guy, Jeremy Chugs.
Woo! How we doing?
What up, Texan?
How we doing, ladies and gentlemen?
Celtic, Buzz-O-Matic, Miles. Got a fun show on tap for everyone out there. We're going to be talking a lot about Michael Penix Jr. because I do feel like it's one of those prospects that, yes, Raider fans want a quarterback, but, like, is it true that the Raiders do really like him, or is it more of a, that's just the next best QB that goes off the board, so that's where we're going to take him?
Texans versus Mexicans. What's up? This is me hollering back.
Holla back.
Ain't no holla back, yo.
Ain't no holla back, girl. Miles, Mitch, how did the basketball game go? No bueno.
So predict it. How many points did I score?
I think I got it right.
How many points did I score? How many points do you think I scored yesterday?
I actually think that I got it right. My prediction for you was 8 points, 8 boards. And I feel like you were right around that.
I think I got 10.
10? I was going to say, Chugs played some good minutes. How many minutes do you think you played last night? You probably played like 15.
Yeah,
20 minutes? 15, 20 minutes. It was a 40-minute game. I'm going to be real. I played 3 minutes, realized that my knees can't do full court anymore, and I said, I'm done. I literally told everyone at the office that I said, I'm not playing anymore. I know. Dude, my knees can't do it. Knees can't do it, and the team that we played was really good. Like, I'm not even kidding, y'all. They had a guy on their team yesterday, and Chugs can confirm this. Like, dude dropped 50 points, shot the ball 20 times.
Dude.
I've never seen anybody shoot from 3 like that.
He missed 2 3-point shots.
I mean, it was like we went up against Steph Curry. Like, he was pulling up from half court buckets. And now some of these guys play D1 basketball, which that might not have been the recipe for success. But bottom line, I had a humble experience of my days of playing full court hoops with my knees are over, half court only from here on out.
Yeah, I need the exercise, so I don't mind that as much. I was just I need to get in the lab with my shooting stroke.
Same. I will say that's the other part that I didn't like. We didn't get to warm up. Like, it was just like, game was over. All right, it's time to play now.
Yeah.
That was a little tough. That also worried me. I was like, I didn't really get time to warm up, stretch. It was just like, go out there and play a little b-ball. All right, y'all, we got 500 people here in the chat right now. My next question is, will the Raiders draft Michael Penix Jr. at pick number 13? According to Vic Tafur, there are starting to be some more whispers that the Silver and Black could decide to go with the Washington quarterback. I just find it interesting, though, because literally last week, ESPN's Jordan Reed did an article, and his report was that the Raiders were unlikely to take any quarterback at pick number 13. So already in 1 week, and that's going to be the show that we do today because there are a lot of conflicting reports, and there's even more conflicting reports of what the Raiders could do with Penix at 13. So let's say this, he's on the clock. Raiders are on the clock. Penix is on the board. Do you think that this is the route that they end up going? Type D for draft, type P for pass. If you were to put your chips in the middle of the table right now, D or P?
For Penix, do I go D or do I go with the P? I'd have to go with the D.
You think he's on the board? They're drafting him.
You know what? Sorry, I was wavering on that. Let me give you strong stance here. Strong on the D.
Yeah.
Give me the D.
Strong D from Jeremy Chuggs. Dylan Biggie says pass, though David agrees with you.
If you think he's your starting quarterback, if you think he'll be the best quarterback on your roster this season, quarterback is the most important position on the football field. You got to get an upgrade at that position so you can compete. If you want to compete, if you want to make the most out of the best years of Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, those guys, because if you're thinking, oh, we're going to wait on a quarterback, you might have missed the boat on Max Crosby and his potential to help take this team to a Super Bowl. Because, I mean, you think J.J. Watt, he was at his best before Deshaun Watson. Whenever Deshaun Watson got there, he was later in his career was starting to deal with injuries, so the Texans weren't able really to get J.J. Watt, an amazing quarterback. I see Max Crosby in that same light. He's a top 5, if not top 1 defensive player, edge rusher in the NFL.
I mean, I hear everything that you're saying. I mean, if I were to put my chips on the table, I think I would type my P for pass, and that's more just because of the value. Like, I just don't want the Raiders to reach on a player that,
Raider 58, I agree, that you don't have the luxury to pass.
My question, though, is this. What if the Raiders don't view Penix as being somebody that they want to start right away? Because there are some conversations inside of that building that if they don't get Jaden, no matter which quarterback that they draft, like, that guy's not starting this year. He's going to start next year then. Like, would you like the idea of them taking Penix at 13?
But they're not going to that's in preliminary thoughts. I mean, at the same time, they're not going to be like, oh, we're going to sit Michael Penix if we draft him, even if he's better than the other two at camp. Because it's going to come down to, regardless of what they say, if he outperforms them at camp, they'd be dumb. They'd want to lose their jobs if they're not playing the best guys that they have on the roster. So if he plays better than the two quarterbacks they have at camp, then he's going to start. It's all about, can he prove that? And if he's not going to start year one, maybe you don't make the pick at all. Maybe you do pass if you don't think. But that's if you don't think Michael Penix is going to be a good player.
Yeah, and again, like I don't want the Raiders to miss in round one. And to me, when I think of a lot of the players that, like, to me, Quinion Mitchell, safer. Terrion Arnold, safer. Talisi Fuaga, safer. A guy like J.C. Latham, like those players to me, I do view as safer. Now, I don't know if they're going to be, they don't have nearly the upside to change your franchise like a Michael Penix Jr. does. Like, let's be real here. If you get that right quarterback and he turns out to be the guy.
You know who wasn't a safe pick?
Who?
Patrick Mahomes. You know who else wasn't a safe pick?
See, Patrick Mahomes was the number one quarterback in that draft for me.
I mean, not for a lot of teams.
I know not for a lot of teams.
It was a guy that you had to,
I have the podcast to prove it.
A lot of people said you had to sit him for a year. A lot of people said
they did.
They didn't know if his game really translated his running.
They did sit him though. My point is, I do wonder if that's the route that they're going to go.
Do you know who was a risky pick?
What?
Steph Curry, out of a small school, ended up being one of the best three-point shooters of all time.
Sure. But I do
also risk it for the biscuit. You can't
I know, but you also have to look at what you have as a coaching staff, and Getsy comes from that tree of which, again, based on what I hear, Getsy wants to have a quarterback that sits for a year. If it's not Jaden.
Scared money don't make no money. You can't say, well, we'll find somebody years down the road, because we've seen in the NFL, you don't have years. Guys are getting fired after 1-2 seasons of being a head coach. So if you think you have we'll have a great team in 3 years.
What about this, though? What if, like, to me, Penix, I think Penix falls further than what people think.
You spending money this offseason on guys like Christian Wilkins, having guys like Max Crosby trying to build this team, build this defense, trading for a guy like Devontae Adams years ago. That's not a team that's like, you know what, we'll win 2 years down the road.
What about this, though? What about the idea of you taking another player at number 13, okay? And then you hope that Penix falls, because I don't really see many teams after the Raiders, unless there is a team that wants to trade up to try to go get them.
But at that point, how many tackles are there in the draft that are good tackles that you would say? There's past the first two, past Joe Alt, past Olu Fashanu, there's a list of 5 to 6 guys who are starting level caliber guys.
I don't disagree with that.
Past Michael Penix, how many guys are starting caliber guys at the quarterback position? I would say 0.
None. Yeah,
0. So if he's your last chance at quarterback, rather than you have 5 other swings at offensive tackles, why not go after the one quarterback that you can have, the most important position on your team, rather than maybe go and get a Rosen-Gardner, Roger Rosen-Gardner.
I know, you're going to do it too, because I do it all the time now. My thing is, if the Raiders draft Penix on draft night, I will be happy. I will be excited. It'll be a pick that I'll be like, let's go. It might not be the pick that I personally would have gone with, and again, you got to see how the board kind of falls. If the Raiders take Penix, I will be excited, but I just don't think it's the pick that I personally would go with. Now, if you guys want to get those questions, comments here on screen, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat like Wayne did here. Hear me out. What if this year the one quarterback that slides is Drake May to 13? Then do they take him? If Drake May falls to 13, I would probably shit a brick live on the Raiders report. He's not falling to 13. I don't think he falls out of the top 3, if I'm being honest with y'all. He's the quarterback that I like the most, and I know there's some people out there that don't like him nearly as much, but if Drake May was on the board at 13, I would sprint to the podium and call his name. That's my favorite quarterback in this year's draft, and I'm not afraid to say that. I will say fit is a big...
Drake May's on the board. Goodell goes up there and he's like, you know what? The Raiders select Cooper DeJean, cornerback.
I would throw up.
I'm going to throw up.
I would rather eat a bunch of those Cooper DeJean spicy ones out there. I don't even know. There's no way, man. No freaking way. What up, Cowboy? Penix would be a great pickup if we can trade back into the end of the first round, take Mitchell or Arnold at 13, and that's, to be honest, this is kind of my mindset with it as well. I would rather you get somebody that you are just a lot more confident can be that other really, really solid player for you. And then if you're like, man, we want to try to go get Penix. If you think that that's your quarterback, and again, there's risk involved in it, but would you be willing then to, give up pick 44 and then potentially give up your first round pick in next year's draft? If you're that confident in Penix, maybe you probably should just take him anyway at 13.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to give up anything, and then you can still trust your evaluators.
I think, but I'll be real. I do think there's a chance he falls out of the first round.
But we've seen it year after year. There's guys in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round that you can find that are good starters in the NFL. Some of the best running backs, some of the best guys at some of these positions are 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks. So you saying you want to take somebody at 13 and then trade up and give up your assets to go back into the first to get Michael Penix, that tells me that you don't really trust your scouting department, your scouting staff of finding guys in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round that can start. And you're saying we have to get somebody at 13 because we're not going to find anybody else in the draft.
Yeah, again,
it's would you rather...
What's so hard about being a Raider fan right now is when you think about just the past few years of the draft, right? Minus Max Crosby, minus Nate Hobbs.
And that's the other thing. The Raiders, their best draft picks have been in the middle round.
They have been
in the 3rd, 4th round.
And
so
I want to be able
to give up all those picks just to get one guy in the first and then your quarterback.
I think the thing is, I know what this is a new regime, and I want to really, really trust in this regime. But, there are other people in this industry. I trust Tom, because I know Tom watches more tape than I could ever dream of. I know guys like Dane Brugler. I know, certain dudes where their entire life, I know the Raiders, and I can talk Raiders, in my opinion, and if anybody out there disagrees, it's all good. But talking about the Raiders is something that I do every day that I feel like I can talk about any situation around the Raiders because, that's what I do every day. The guys that I really, really trust with draft information, Tom Downey, the guy here at Chat Sports, a Daniel Jeremiah, a Dane Brugler, they don't view Penix as a top 50 pick. Like, that is concerning to me. And because I trust those guys so much, like, I know Penix can be a great player. Like, and I know that he can be a solid guy. But what has burned the Raiders in past drafts is they've reached based on need. And yes, quarterback is different because it's QB.
The ultimate need.
But dudes that I literally trust so much, when they rank him outside of the top 50 overall prospects, that does make me nervous. It does. Let's go to Venthrick. Mitch, I'm with you. I see Penix sliding out of round 1. And there's going to be people that fall in love with the quarterback. There's going to be people that don't. But, like, I do also think that because he's a lefty, he's going to fall. There are going to be teams that are worried about his past injuries. If Michael Penix Jr. was a right-handed quarterback, there is a 0% chance that he falls out of round 1. Because he's a lefty, though, there are going to be certain teams that don't even put him on their board. And again, if you told me the Raiders got to trade up in the back end of round 1 to get him, I don't think then you have to give a first-round pick the following year. You just cannot afford to miss at 13. You can't afford to miss.
But, I mean, wouldn't it be the same thing if you still, got Mike? Because in that scenario, you're trading up. You're getting Michael Penix either way. So wouldn't it be imperative to say, hey, instead of giving up the middle-round picks, you have more shots to hit? Because in that, you're putting it all on 13. You're saying this guy has to make it to where if you don't trade up, you're saying, oh, we have a couple opportunities to get guys who can start in the second, third, fourth round. Because if you're trading up, you're saying no matter what, if this guy, and the amount of pressure you're putting on that guy of if you don't work out, this whole draft is screwed at pick 13. I'd rather have more shots at the dartboard. I'd rather have more chances on a team that has drafted well in round 2, 3, and 4 historically in the draft the past 4 or 5 seasons. I mean, who's their best player on the team? Max Crosby.
You said, the only picks that I would say that they hit on in recent years, Crosby was around 4, Hobbs was around 5, Renfro was a right pick.
2.
Merrick was a round 2 pick, but like his
who was the first round pick?
His first 2 years struggled. Leatherwood. Yeah. My point is, if you're going to talk about trading back up in the first round, like to me, what sounds better? Does Terrion Arnold and Michael Penix Jr., a Talisi Fuaga and a Michael Penix Jr. sound better than a Michael Penix Jr. and
I would say
Ennis Rakestraw, a Tyler Guyton?
I said this. I would say the second one, getting those 3 guys.
No.
Or getting a mix of that, getting a Michael Penix, and then you.
No, I'm saying you're picking either like if it's Arnold and Penix or Penix and
Rakestraw plus maybe a Cooper Beebe. Because you get another.
You're not getting that though.
With your 3rd round pick, you probably have to trade.
Yeah, but you're not getting. I'm saying Cooper. Like you're not getting a Cooper Beebe.
I think you would.
He's going to top 50. Lock top 50 pick.
I mean, all the people that you said that you trust before don't have him as a top 50 pick, I would say.
Beebe?
Yeah, I would say mostly I've been seeing him going late 2nd round, 3rd round.
See, everyone that I mentioned has him top 50.
Everyone.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't.
Cooper Beebe.
A top 50 pick.
Yes.
Consistently over everybody you've seen.
I've actually never seen him go outside of the top 50 for guys that I look at. Yeah.
I don't know.
Am I crazy? Cooper Beebe, top 50 pick? Give me a Y for yes and for no. 93 Nab Man. Let's look at reality. That is O-line and defensive line, linebacker and defensive back being stout where any quarterback can thrive with weapons. Many examples of it. Brock Purdy. It is worth thinking about 13 equals offensive guard or offensive tackle. And I hear what you're saying on top of that, and I think my biggest problem with what you're saying is you probably believe in Aiden O'Connell, right? I don't believe in Aiden O'Connell as a starting quarterback. Like, to me, he's not good enough to be a starter. Like, if you want to go with your plan with Gardner Minshew with a QB that is probably somewhere around that, like, top 25, like maybe Gardner can be in that 20th quarterback range, sure, but to me, you have the opportunity to have the best defense in the NFL. You have an opportunity to have a Super Bowl caliber team, and I do think the Raiders are a Super Bowl caliber team if they have themselves a quarterback. If you don't have yourself a quarterback, then Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, you're hoping to get to 10 wins, you're hoping to get into the playoffs, and you're hoping to win a playoff game. Like, I don't think that you do this business unless you're trying to win a Super Bowl. And that's I mean, that's part of the Penix conversation is like, do you go then with the QB? Because if I do think that you're a quarterback away, it's just I don't have Penix ranked nearly as high as a lot of those other prospects. And, like, that's the part that does pain me a little bit. What's up, Knight? Spit your shit indeed, Chugs.
Knight Uchiha.
Is that how you pronounce it? And is that what that is?
Yeah,
I have no idea what I just saw.
It's a reference to Naruto.
Oh, I've actually heard you make that reference actually a few times before. What's up, Ben Thrack? Vontae Mack, no matter what. Draft day. I mean, imagine if a linebacker went off the board at number 1 overall.
Dude, that happened before.
Yeah, before. In today's day and age in the NFL, what do you think's more likely, a linebacker or a running back going number 1 overall?
Oh, like are you talking about an edge rusher? Or?
No, I'm talking linebacker.
Oh, well, Vontae Mack was an edge rusher.
All right, I don't really remember that movie. I thought he was a linebacker.
No, he was outside linebacker. He was edge.
But is he more? All right, if he's more of an edge, that's different. I thought he was just a linebacker.
Oh no, he was
okay.
He was edge. He sacked Bo Callahan multiple times until he gave the ball to his mom, and the ref didn't know it was his mom.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah,
that's wild. I remember.
And that's how the Browns ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, when Alex and I watched that movie, her question was like, how realistic is this draft day movie? And I'm like, you don't want to know that answer. You don't want to know that answer. What's up, Cowboy?
When is the last time we actually took the best player available with our first round pick? That's a good question.
I don't know, because I mean, you got to go back and think about last year with Tyree Wilson. I don't think that he was the best player available. He was a top 10 player overall for me. I will admit that, but I don't think he was the best player available. I know Leatherwood definitely was not. I know Arnett and Henry Ruggs were not. The Raiders traded for Devontae Adams that one year. I know Klee was not even close. Jacobs might have been close, and then Abram was not even close.
I think Jacobs was like
I had Jacobs as
like one of the top backs in that draft, but
he was the top back.
I remember Cleveland Ferrell. Everybody was like, they went to Mel and he was like, I have him as a 4th round pick, but
we still had Klee as I want to say 2nd, 3rd round fringe player, and for them to take him where they did was just it was insane to me. I know that they reached on Colton Miller was a lot of speculation, though Colton Miller has obviously turned out to be a solid player, but legitimately, I don't know when the last time the Raiders took the player that I think a lot of people were hoping that they ended up taking.
People were saying Khalil Mack was the last time.
I mean, maybe. I mean, you could also Amari Cooper wasn't a bad player. I know, like, Cooper fell off the back end of his career, but, I mean, Amari's still doing it at a pretty high level right now. So, I mean, the Raiders still got a 1st-round pick for him, but, yeah, Amari, probably Khalil Mack is probably when you got to go back to that. What's up, Nathaniel? Penix can make the passes Adams wants. I say go get him. Raiders! I mean, if Devontae literally is like, hey, this is the QB that I want, I do think that it has to at least go into the equation of what this organization has to think about, because you do want to make sure that Devontae Adams is happy. And, I mean, when you talk about throwing a football, Penix might have the best arm. He's got the biggest hands in this year's draft. Like, Penix legit got Kawhi Leonard hands, which he can throw the piss out of a football. Like, if you want to talk just pure arm strength, Penix might have the strongest arm. Now, he's like got a bad lower half, I would say. His footwork gets a little sloppy. He's just all like slinging it. And that's what he does. He slings it. He's a much better athlete. Like, I will, like, Penix or J.J. McCarthy. To me, it's not close. It's Penix. Penix or Bo Nix. It's not close to me, right? There is a massive tier gap for me personally after Penix and all the other quarterbacks. Now, there's a lot. Cornerback is deep. Offensive tackle is deep. I get you. It's just, it does make me nervous taking Penix at 13. But if it happens on draft night, I will be excited, because to me, if you take a quarterback at 13 and you pay Gardner Minshew 2 years, $25 million, I know there's going to be still a lot of people out there defending Aiden, and Aiden is a stand-up guy. It's hard not to root for Aiden O'Connell, considering the fact of everything that he's had to go through. But when you pay Gardner that type of backup money and you draft the QB at 13, like, that does give me confidence that this team goes, we like Aiden, but we understand that he's not the guy. And That's that's what needs to happen for me. I will admit that.
Wayne.
Round 2, because by the time his rookie deal is up,
he'll be 30. Which you can actually look at.
Who?
Michael Penix.
That's not true.
I mean, yeah, he won't be 30. But you can almost look at that as a plus that he's going to be on the older side once his rookie deal's up, because then if he actually plays really well, you're like, okay, like we'll give you a contract extension, but also you're not in your mid-20s. You're almost to 30.
He's going to be 24 years old on May 8th. So he'll be 24 on May 8th, 5 years after that. So he'll be 29 after that 5th year. So his 5th year option, essentially, he's 28 years old.
Yeah.
But I'll also say this. For most quarterbacks and QBs that are good, it's basically after that 3rd year. So he'd be 27 years old when that conversation would be had. Because, like, if you don't know if your guy's good enough at that spot, you're probably not going to roll with that 5th year unless it's like a Tua Tagovailoa situation where you're like, he's all right. He's good. He's an average quarterback. But obviously, like, that's not what you're really hoping for here. What up, nation? Raiders! Let's go sign offensive tackle Talisi Fuanga. He's a beast. He's a hell of a player. And maybe if I didn't love some of these other prospects as much as I do, like I love Quinyon Mitchell. I love Terrion Arnold. I love Talisi Fuanga. Like, those prospects to me are, and I hate using this term because obviously there's always a chance, but they're not busting prospects. You're not putting those two corners in this situation with our coaching staff, and they're not going to work. And I think Fuanga also is just such a solid player, ready to go right away in the NFL, and would be such a good fit for us that would be there. The other part that scares the hell out of me with Penix at 13 is that right side of the line. Like, are you confident in Thayer Munford's ability enough? Are you confident then? Because then if you take Penix at 13, to me, like, you almost got to figure out a way to get an offensive tackle with your next pick. And what if, like, you got to trade up for an offensive tackle? Like, that's the other part that scares the hell out of me, man.
But I mean, if you pass on him, then
you
have the same thing, because then you have a ton of you have the Saints there, which the Saints are not somewhat set on Derek Carr, I would say. I mean,
yeah, I think this might be Carr's last year with New Orleans.
You have a couple teams that are creeping in that range of after you pick that you're like, maybe they could select a quarterback. The Rams have an old Matthew Stafford who maybe has 1-2 years left in him.
They got Jimmy G, though.
They do have Jimmy G.
They have Jimmy G. I mean, the Vikings are a team. If they don't get a quarterback and they have another pick there at 23, like there's a lot of different routes you can go.
Trading up from 44 to into the first round, I think it'll be a lot more than people expect to get there. I think you'll either have to give up your first round pick next year or your second and third and maybe a pick swap.
If you're trying to get into like where the Rams are picking at 19, you might have to give up that first round pick. If you're though like in the back end of that round one, that's probably 44 and 77.
You're in the middle of round two, so you're going up 12 spots already just to get at pick 32, and then add on whatever else.
Yeah, I mean
it's a first round pick.
I did a video on it before of like what it could potentially cost. So if you guys want to go check it out, please do so. But I mean that's also a situation where you're probably going to be moving on from another guy like a Ja'Cory Bennett, a Byron Young, something like that. Cowboy, let's go back to you. The later we can get Penix, if he falls, the cheaper his rookie deal will be and gives us more money to fill other holes and continue to build. You make a point, but no disrespect, I don't think it's a good point. And the only reason why that I say that is because I'm not worried about, I mean, you're talking about a few $100,000s, and it might get to $1 million-ish, $2 million, but like, I'm not going to cheap out and risk not getting the quarterback that I want, really risk not getting the guy that I want based on a few $100,000, based on, even if it's $2 million. $2 million to a lot of us watching the show right now it's life-changing money. To an NFL franchise, to Mark Davis, I mean, he wipes his ass with $2 million bills, though he is poor. You tell me right now, if the Raiders draft Penix at 13, which position should they target at 44? It's going to be one of the conversations that we have today because of all the reports out there that now the Raiders might take Penix at 13, though there's conflicting reports that they won't, and we're going to get into all of that. If the Raiders take Penix at 13, what position should they go with at 44?
Best O-lineman available.
Even if it's a guard?
I think so because I think
Cooper Beebe.
I think no, maybe
what position? What position
I would say
should
a
the
little bit
Raiders
too early,
go?
but I mean, if you could get Penix at 13 and then Jackson Powers Johnson at 44, which
that's sexy.
In the latest Kuiper Yates mock draft, video is going out tomorrow on the channel. That's who they had the Raiders taking at 44. That would be a slam dunk.
I mean, everyone right now is saying corner and offensive tackle. I would say
best O lineman available because I think.
So you're not confident in Thayer?
I would be confident in Thayer. By the way, he ended last season stepping in for Colton Miller at left tackle. The way he played, I think he was really good in the games that he played towards the end of the season. And building on that, the fact that they didn't re-sign Jermaine Illuminor, who in a lot of people's eyes, one of the most underrated offensive linemen last season on the way he played.
Agreed.
He really only had one bad game against Khalil Mack and the Chargers. Besides that,
yep.
If you take that game out, he was a really good tackle.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't bring him back and the Giants only paid him 2 years, $14 million, I think that shows that they initially they at least have the base level trust in Munford to be a starter at one of the positions.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, if the season were to start today, to me, your starting offensive line is Colt Miller, Cody Whitehair, Andre James, Dylan Parham, and then Thayer Munford on the right side. And now maybe like one of the reasons why they signed Whitehair, which again, I don't love the idea, and I don't think that they want him to be the starter, but it could be that like Greg Van Roten, old vet who's got a lot of experience with Luke Getsy in years past, you're like, all right, this is our worst case scenario offensive line. Let's see how we build on it. If you pass on an offensive tackle, though, at 44, then I'm almost saying that you're probably saying, like, all right, we're rolling with Thayer on that right side. I mean, unless you can get a Rosengarten. Because if you take Penix, that's the guy I'm trying to get. Though, the more tape I watch on him, I think he might be a guard.
Yeah.
And what I love about the draft is the fact that we're able to have this conversation right now. But what I also hate about the draft is we're going to talk about so many players all the time, and then every single year, like, there's just guys that get taken. You're like, nobody thought that was happening. Oh man, we got
a lot of offensive tackle, a lot of cornerback.
Big Luck. Oh, what up, Mr. Raspberry J Rock?
That also allows you to take a lot of special teams players later in the draft,
which you need because you need special players.
Special teams, special plays. Special players.
That's what I hear. Who's ready to get into today's show? I don't know about y'all. We got 900 people here in the building. If you haven't already clicked that like button for the Queen, let's do 20. Then make sure you do so. And if you want to get in our 50-50 raffle, $20 Venmo.
Raider Hype, what's up, brother?
Mitchell Renz 365.
Can we get a chain of what's up, brothers in the chat?
You want to get a chain of what's up, brothers?
What's up, brother?
I guess I got to watch this guy. He's really blown up, which I'm happy for him. It's pretty incredible. It's a pretty damn good story. Get him going, and Chugs will give you a shout out. I'll also say this to the first person that I get a $20 Venmo from. I'm gonna give you an extra entry in our duck race today. Okay, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. First entry, you get an extra one. Let's go to Wayne. Oh. If we get Quinyon Mitchell, my favorite, I'm happy. You know what's? I actually had a Raider fan ask me this question. It was probably like 3 weeks ago. I ran into somebody down here, and they said, "Do you think people would not get like people that don't like this show, me?
Yeah,
like people won't get a Quinyon Mitchell jersey because
it says Mitchell?
Yes.
I know. Clover Jane won't be getting a Chugs jersey because they just unsubscribed because of me.
No.
All good, Clover.
Clover, best of luck to you, man.
You'll be back.
Probably.
They
Probably with another name.
They always come back.
They'll always be back. Yeah, I mean, I hope that wouldn't be the case, but like Quinyon Mitchell to me has that legit, I can be the best cornerback in the NFL upside. Like, I really, truly believe that. I had Sauce Gardner ranked really high. He was my number one corner in the year he got drafted. I know I kind of got some shit from that because people were like, oh, he's from Cincinnati. Quinyon Mitchell has that opportunity to be like a Sauce Gardner where, yeah, he didn't go to a big-time school, but that guy does make big plays. He does. He's a hell of a football player, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hell of a football player. All right.
Kid's just a grinder, man.
Sorry, I just saw an update from Mr. Schefter. J.C. Latham visiting with the New York Jets.
Wow.
Also, he's going to be visiting with the Cardinals, Titans, and the Bears. Coming up live here on today's show.
If Olu Fashanu and Fuaga are there at 13, who are you taking?
Oh, man. Again, I love Olu. Like, Olu to me, I just don't think Olu right now is good enough to play on the right side. If Colt Miller says, don't worry, I'll go play on that right side, I'm taking Olu and I'm putting him at left tackle. If Colt Miller says no, then I'm probably still going to roll with Fuaga. Like, again, like to me, Olu Fashanu, if you're confident in James Craig, your offensive line coach, like he does have the upside to be the best offensive lineman in the NFL. Like he's that truly great of an athlete to me. He can move, he can do all these amazing things, and he already does it well. Yeah. It's just really sharpening those tools. I think Joe Alt's ranked where he is because Joe Alt, the day he enters into the NFL, he's a top 20 tackle. Overall tackle. Like, some people might think he's top 10 the day he steps on field. Like, Joe Alt's just more ready. I don't know if he has the upside, though, of some of these other guys.
His dad also NFL vet, John Alt.
Yeah.
Just kind of wild. Name John, son Joe. I feel like that's a little too close.
Yeah. You're like,
if your son was Michael.
I mean, it's not even that. Like, I feel like Joe and John. I mean, if it's Joe, Jon and Joe, I mean, that's like me calling my Michelle and just putting an E at the end of Mitchell. Like, it's way too close.
Yeah.
Way too close. And that's the world's shortest name. Like, Joe Alt. That's 6 letters. And dude, kindergarten he was... Yeah, dude, he's
done.
Teacher goes, now write your name on the board 500 times. He's like, done. Easy. Easy work.
Yeah, he's doing that over in the other corner. Kingsley Suamaitai.
Kingsley
Suamaitai.
And then right next to Giannis Antetokounmpo, or whatever the hell you say his last name. And then right next to him is Jared Saltalamakia.
Cullen knows how to pronounce it. Cullen. The tackle from BYU.
Kingsley Suamaitai.
No, it's not my time. Can we get a pronunciation guide from our cultured producer, Cullen?
Where's the name?
The tackle from BYU, you know him.
Yeah, I know. I gotta see his name to pronounce it.
I'm one of those guys.
I'm one of those.
He needs to see the name to pronounce it.
Oh, right there. Suamaitai.
Suamaitai?
Suamaitai.
Yeah. All right.
He's cultured. He knows.
I mean, Cullen heard Brigham Young, and he's like, yeah, I'm there.
Yep. Cullen actually has a wife in the Philippines.
Bold.
So
bold.
Do you remember how to say his name now?
I don't think that's right.
No?
No.
We'll see.
I don't think it's the right way, but it is what it is. Coming up here live on today's show, let's get into some rumors around Michael Penix Jr. We got some conflicting ones. And then, because the Raiders, according to Vic Tafur, are eyeing Penix at pick number 13, what we're going to end up doing is looking at players, that we could take in round 2, pick 44. Dude, I'll tell you what, death, taxes, hopefully all y'all did yours, and a bang from 93! Netman! Bang! If you don't spam 93, you get the hell out of here. I sound like a broken record. Many X of best offensive linemen with QBs are names like DC early on, Gannon, Purdy, Cousins, Eli, Peyton at Denver, etc. There are times where quarterbacks can be better than draft all day. Pull Penix and trade up second. Definitely 0 NFL
ready QBs this year.
See, I disagree with that. I think that there's a lot of NFL quarterbacks, or a lot of QBs that are ready. Like, to me, Caleb Williams is ready to play. I will say, fit is a big thing. Dude, I don't think who goes to the Commanders is going to be good. I don't think who goes to the Patriots is going to be good.
I got by a Bleacher Report article with I got clickbaited into an article because it was like one quarterback from the 2024 NFL draft that can have a similar season to C.J. Stroud. And I was like, oh, who do they think it is? The dude was talking about Caleb Williams. I was like, what a waste of an article to be like, I think Caleb Williams will be good. He's number one.
But hey, They got you.
I clicked it. He got me. As soon as I opened it and realized he was talking about Caleb Williams, I was like, this is dumb.
I got some breaking news here around the 49ers. The 49ers and wide receiver / punt returner Trent Taylor have agreed to terms to a contract to bring him back to the team. So Niners just made a move. Nah, man, again, I just think for you it sounds like that you don't really believe in a lot of these quarterbacks that are coming out, which I hear you. I disagree with that. And I think you're saying also quarterbacks and names. There's a lot of stuff going on with names here. I'm not going to draft somebody based on name. Is that what he's going with here?
Maybe.
Nah, man. You know it's all love. My only ask is we just got to shrink that question a little bit because there's a lot going on. there's a lot going on. Wayne, if Al was here, Xavier Worthy would be picked at 13.
Could you imagine?
No.
If the Raiders picked Xavier Worthy at pick 13.
In all honesty, the answer to that is no. I can't imagine what I would do. I wasn't upset when the Raiders took Ruggs. I just didn't want the Raiders to take Ruggs. I thought CeeDee Lamb was the better receiver, and I think that turned out to be the right call. But I can remember how upset I was when the Raiders took Damon Arnett, and I can remember that time frame of right when we started to get the right groove. What?
Nah, this next Luis's picture. I think it's me.
Oh, well, we start getting in the right groove, and everyone just hated on me for hating the Cleveland Ferrell pick, for the Jonathan Abram pick, for hating on even the Leatherwood pick I didn't like. But I can remember how much hate I got in those 2 years on the Raiders draft picks in 2019 and in 2020, though people always forget that my highest draft grade, holy shit, what a picture that is, was Max Crosby. But it is what it is.
Not me, but for a second I thought it did look like me, Luis.
You thought this was you? I work all day. Thank you for the content and team info. Don't understand why you get so much shade from other YouTubers. Keep up the good work. I actually don't think that I do get a lot of shade from other YouTubers. I think there's really only one.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be other people that are, I don't even know if I consider them YouTubers. To me, you got to get to 10K subs until I start taking you serious.
Who would ever leak information in chat?
Dude, I have no idea.
I don't know, man. Who would do that?
Bro, I don't know. Luckily, he plays on your team now, so
Yeah, no, it's weird.
it's kind of wild. I think it's just like anything in life, Luis. I think people, unfortunately, are jealous, and I don't really know why somebody would be jealous. I mean, Chugs and I, we have a lot of fun here, but I always say this: I've never seen a successful person try to bring others down. You don't really see too many successful trolls out there. And I think a lot of times, and this is, I've honestly, I remember telling this to Nico Laz when we were in Vegas, because he asked me kind of the same thing, and I said, my legitimate answer is everybody that is a Raiders fan thinks that they can do what Jeremy and I do. And honestly, you might be right. You might be right. You might be able to start up your own Raiders show. You might be able to do this every single day. Problem is, you don't. That's the biggest thing. You don't. And until you do, you don't. So, and I literally think that there are people that could do what we do. I don't know if you can do it for a little while, but doing it for as consistent as what we do, that also separates.
It's like people who think that they can just go out and beat the UConn women's basketball team. In theory, it's a good idea. In reality, you're not beating the UConn women's basketball team. They're really good at what they do.
Oh, holy shit! I mean, that's funny. That's a good one. We've been talking a lot about this today.
Shout out to Allie Barefoot for the WNBA draft last night.
I mean, in all honesty,
she killed it. That
was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Allie, you still owe me a boot for my super yesterday though. No, I got the employee discount. It's 50% off.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good to know. I'll keep that in mind next time I watch Texans. I'll keep that in mind. All right, y'all, let's get into today's show. Shout out to all y'all for pulling up and having a good time with us. Seriously, it does mean a lot. Though, before we get into this first segment, I should mention again, I'll do it at the end. First person to send me a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm going to get you 2 entries into our duck race. I'll tell you who's in the duck race after our first segment. I think that's pretty good. First one is what? PrizePicks, if my memory serves me correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. PrizePicks is going to be the sponsor here on the first show that we do, y'all. And again, I love this time of the year. The time of the year starts to wear me down a little bit because I just want the NFL draft to happen. And there's just so many smoke screens, so many rumors. And when conflicting rumors come out, I want to be able to do my best to keep you guys, in the loop of everything going on around those conflicting rumors. Good?
I'm good.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I realized cold open. All right, let's do it. Hey, y'all, help me get to 168,000 subscribers. We are 148 away. I want to be able to hit this benchmark before the 2024 NFL Draft. Why? Because I think saying hitting 169 during the draft would be pretty nice. So if you bleed silver and black, if you appreciate what Chugs and I do here, an easy way to say thank you, 100% free, is to click that subscribe button. Raider Nation, what's going on? I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, we got some conflicting rumors from Vic Tafur from The Athletic and ESPN on what the Raiders could potentially do at pick 13. And I know this time of the year is the smoke screens. There's a lot of, I know this, they don't know that. Bottom line is this. Anytime there are updates around what the Raiders could potentially do at pick 13, I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date. So if you don't know where this story is coming from Tafur, he did a mock draft recently. The Athletic ended up doing one where they take all of their beat reporters and have them pick for their respective teams. So obviously Tafur ends up picking for the Las Vegas Raiders. And because of that, Tafur picked Fuaga, but said that Las Vegas does like Michael Penix Jr. a lot. So when he wrote his write-up, okay, and broke down all the reasons why the Raiders decided to go with Fuaga at 13, he put a certain paragraph in that write-up that a lot of people have taken and kind of run with here a little bit, which I do find interesting that he says that the Raiders do really like Penix and then had the opportunity to take him and passed on him for Talisi Fuaga, but this was the write-up that Tafur had on the Washington quarterback. The whispers are getting louder that the Raiders just might take Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. here, which again was at pick 13. Penix's stock has risen since he had clean medicals at the NFL Scouting Combine. He has the best deep ball in the draft, but in our book, it is still a bit of a project mechanically to be taken this high. It's bad value. So one of the things that Tafur says there is Penix at pick 13 is bad value. When you look at some of the numbers that he was able to put up last season, like he was an unbelievable quarterback for Washington. Really, the only bad game that he had, and I kind of feel bad for him, was in the Natty against Michigan because the week before that he played Texas, that might be the best quarterback performance I have seen all season long. Like Penix to me can be a dog. And yes, he might have the best deep ball. He might have the best arm talent in this year's draft. Dude can throw the piss out of a football with his Kawhi Leonard hands. But there are some things, especially on that lower half with his body, that does scare certain teams away from him. My question to you is this. In your honest opinion, if the Raiders end up taking Michael Penix Jr. at pick 13, is that bad value? Do you think it's good value? You think it's bad value? Is drafting Penix at 13 bad value? Give me a yes. Give me a no. Let me know what y'all are thinking down below. For me personally on this one, I will admit that I don't think that the value is great. Like, the value to me is not very good value. I always say that I want to take best player available, and I don't want to have to reach on a certain position. This to me is a reach. But I will also say, if it is draft night and it's round one and the Raiders go up there to that podium and they say, hey, we're taking Michael Penix Jr. at 13, I will be excited because I know quarterback's its biggest need. And I want Aiden O'Connell to succeed. I want Gardner Minshew to succeed. But to me, this team is a quarterback away from being a legit Super Bowl caliber. And to me, Penix gives you that upside that Minshew and Aiden don't. I don't know if he's going to be as ready to go the first time he steps onto that field, and maybe they decide to draft him at 13 and let him marinate for a little bit. The reason why, though, I will admit that it does scare me, and the reason why I do think it's a little bit of a reach, there are certain people in this industry that I trust a lot. Daniel Jeremiah does a phenomenal job with his draft rankings. 33 overall prospect is where he has Michael Penix Jr. PFF has him ranked at 46. ESPN, Mel Kiper Jr. has him ranked at 50. Dane Brugler, who spends so much time on his beast, has him ranked 52 overall. The guy that I trust more than anybody in the draft. no disrespect to a lot of people that watch this show that do their own podcast. I talk more Raiders, I honestly think, than anybody that breathes air. I really do. So because of that, I'm confident in my ability to talk Raiders with anybody because I do it so often. These two guys right here spend more time analyzing draft content, players, scouting reports, it doesn't matter, than anybody that breathes air. And the fact that both of these two guys, the two guys that I respect more than anybody in the industry, have Penix ranked outside of the top 50, that does scare the absolute hell out of me. And I know he put up phenomenal numbers, and he has done a lot of really good things in the Pac-12 with Washington. Like, he has gotten better and better, and he's been able to stay healthy over the past 2 seasons. I've also said on this show that if he was a right-handed quarterback, he would go in the top 10. But there are other mechanical issues. There are other things that do concern me. And if the Raiders didn't have a history of just swinging and missing in the first round, maybe I would be a little bit happier with the idea of taking Penix here at 13. Coming up here, more conflicting rumors around the Las Vegas Raiders and Michael Penix Jr. because Tafur is saying that whispers are starting to grow that that's where the Raiders could potentially go. Well, according to ESPN, Jordan Reed, he ain't really on that boat at all. Before I tell you what exactly he said, if you haven't already got started with our sponsor, PrizePicks, I love PrizePicks. I know it's the off season, and some of you are like, well, Mitch, there's no football season. You're right. Well, there's no basketball season. Well, there's still the NBA going on, and the NBA is actually something that I've really tried to start doing more because I don't watch the NBA, but if I have some picks down and all I did was choose more or less, then I do end up watching those games. But like what I also just recently discovered with PrizePicks, and we know how easy it is, but it's also the year-long ones that you can do for the NFL. So one of the things that you can do, if you don't already know, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, MLB entries today, right now on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. One of the things that I recently discovered, though, again, was like the season-long PrizePicks, which I took Bryce Young. Give me the more on 18.5 passing touchdowns. Like, I think in his second year, you're going to see him take a big step forward, and they've just surrounded him with so much more talent already before the draft has even started. I know they don't have a lot of picks. C.J. Stroud, with all that talent, the only way he's not throwing for more than 26.5 touchdowns is if he ends up getting hurt. And then Chris Jones. I'm always going to go against the Chiefs guy. Give me the less, but also, when you look at his history of seasons, yes, he did have 15 sacks the year before. Historically, though, he's been under 12 sacks. So because of that, I went with less. And if anybody's watching the show right now is like, Mitch, I want to ride with those picks with you. Well, then that link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. I promise, PrizePicks is simple. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS and get a first-time deposit match of $100. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's really that simple. All right, let's get into these conflicting rumors now because Tafur believes that the Raiders could pick Penix at 13. Jordan Reed, however, has said that the Raiders aren't expected to draft a quarterback at all at pick 13. Then Adam Schefter recently in the last week has said that the Raiders do in fact like Michael Penix Jr. Like, no disrespect to Tafur, but I usually believe ESPN guys over any Raiders beat reporter just because of how often those guys swing and miss on certain reports. And when a guy like Jordan Reed, who, guess what, is connected to Schefter, he's connected to a lot of these guys in ESPN. If they're saying that, yes, they want to try to trade up and get a Jaden Daniels, but if they don't trade up and get a Jaden, then they're just going to take either a corner at offensive tackle at pick 13. I have to look at that and I have to listen. I mean, this is what Jordan Reed had to say. Expect offensive line or cornerback at number 13 overall. At Alabama's Pro Day last month, Pierce seemed to be keeping a close eye on Terrion Arnold, who would give Vegas a shutdown corner on the outside. But sources with the team have also suggested to me the Raiders could add another tackle to pair with Colt Miller. Talisi Fuaga is a natural match based on the hole at right tackle and play style, but don't dismiss J.C. Latham at that spot either. So now you got Jordan Reed saying if the Raiders don't trade up for Jaden Daniels, they're going to go with corner or an offensive tackle. Coming up, the guy that I listen to probably more than anyone. There are 2 people in this industry that I think every single person that watches this show, that pays attention to the NFL, when Adam Schefter says something and when Ian Rappaport says something, you listen a lot more. So since we got conflicting rumors here with Tafur, and we got a conflicting rumor here with his own guy, Jordan Reed from ESPN, I'm going to tell you what Schefter said. That way it maybe helps you figure out what these conflicting rumors are a little bit more. If you don't know, I am going to be on a Zoom call tomorrow, which is Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you missed the details last week, basically everybody that was supposed to be in the Zoom call last week, I sent the exact same details. So if you're like, Mitch, how do I get a hold of this? I will tell you how to join our Zoom call next Wednesday. We're going to try to do one every single week. But to the people, you should know who you are. Check your email. Check your email. We used to do locals every Wednesday. I'm now going to start doing like Zoom calls, start doing some more like IG face-to-face stuff. I want to get to know you. I want y'all to get to know me even better. And I had a lot of fun last week with the Lord Buddy Bear and David Zahn. All right, so what exactly did Adam Schefter have to say about all of these conflicting rumors going on of what the Raiders could do with Penix? This is what he said. There has been a lot of chatter, real or not, that the Raiders do like Michael Penix. I do believe the Raiders would have loved to have found a way to go get Daniels, but it's possible to make that happen. So there's two things that you can digest in there. Schefter is saying that the Raiders do, in fact, really like Michael Penix Jr., which if Schefter is saying that they do really like him, that does make me believe that, yes, they could take him at 13, though I still think that the Raiders, because I know that they tried to trade for an extra first-round pick with the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins said no. Remember, the Raiders offered Miami $44, $77, $112 for pick 21. Miami ended up saying no to that. To me, I think like that's where the Raiders want to take Penix. They want to try to get that second first-round pick to then take a QB, where they still want to go Terry and Arnold or a J.C. Latham, a Talisi Fuaga at pick number 13. But Schefter also said that he literally said it's not possible to trade up into the top three. And if Schefter's saying it's not possible to trade up into the top three, you kind of have to believe that it's just not going to happen, which until the draft day happens, I am still going to hold out that Jaden Daniels figures out a way to partners with his homie Antonio Pierce here in Las Vegas. So if it is impossible to draft Jaden Daniels, should the Raiders take Penix at number 13? If you know right now, it's already a done deal. Like we already know Caleb Williams going number 1 overall in Chicago. What if we know right now, it's a cold hard fact, that there is a 0% chance that the Raiders get Jaden Daniels? Should you go with Michael Penix Jr. at pick number 13? Let me know down below. The reason why I have this take on the whole idea is I wouldn't love the pick, but I would be excited about it because I would rather the Raiders take the best player available. And based on people that I trust, based on people that I talk to, based on the tape that I watch, Michael Penix Jr. is not a player that you take at 13 overall. He's not. Is it the biggest team need at quarterback? Yes, I am still hoping that Penix finds a way to fall down the draft board. Maybe he falls out of round 1, which I don't think is impossible. Like, to me, there is just as much of a chance that the Raiders do still figure out a way to trade up for Jaden Daniels than Michael Penix Jr. sliding out of round 1. Like, last year, Will Levis, never going to happen. Malik Willis was getting mocked in top 5. He ends up falling to round 3. It happens year in and year out. I wouldn't love the pick because I would say it's a reach. However, I would be excited because it is a quarterback, and he's going to be able to go in there and compete with Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and hopefully give us the best chance to win going forward. Eggs Benedict Day.
It's National Eggs Benedict Day.
So this is actually my go-to brunch food, Eggs Benedict.
Really?
I actually think the best place to get Eggs Benedict here in Dallas is a spot Alex always likes to go to. We go to it often. It's called Chelsea's Corner. Crab cake Egg Benedict.
I was just about to say the best Eggs Benedict I've ever had was a crab cake Eggs Benedict from this place in Denton.
Unbelievable. Eggs Benedict. What's your favorite brunch? All right, so we already said Eggs Benedict. Next brunch food, because I have mine.
Eggs Benedict is probably not my favorite brunch food.
It's my one.
I like it.
When you say brunch, like you have to get like is that more breakfast or lunch? Eggs Benedict, because I think it's more breakfast.
I think brunch is, you could get either. I think brunch is like a time where it's like people at the table could get breakfast or lunch, and it's totally fine. Somebody could get a burger, and the person next to them gets like an omelet, and it's fine.
Okay, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but I think of like Eggs Benedict is more of like the brunchy thing, where if I get a burger, I don't know. Is that brunchy? Chicken and waffles.
Oh.
Chicken and waffles or Eggs Benedict? What would you go with?
Oh, Loco Moco is really good too.
What is that?
Loco Moco is like a Hawaiian dish where it's rice.
You know the most random shit.
It's rice, a seasoned burger patty, a fried egg, and then they put like brown gravy on top. It's really good.
I mean, that sounds like something I need after a bunch of mimosas.
Oh, dude, yes, it's great.
I actually also love, it's called like a hangover plate, or like, there's a place here in Dallas, they literally just like throw a whole bunch of shit in like a hot skillet, and it's so good. You don't really even know what's in there, but it's phenomenal.
I'm going to sound lame, but my favorite brunch food is, I would say, I always end up, I really like something that I found after I went to Mexico and a couple of like Mexican restaurants if I'm going for brunch. Chilaquiles, very good.
Got to make it right though.
The
Green
best
salsa?
ones I've had is the green salsa one, fried egg on top.
Yep. It's very, very good. Though I've had good and I've had bad. Like when Alex's mom makes it, the tortilla chips, I guess, or whatever.
They have to be crunchy still.
They got to be crunchy. If as soon as they get soft, and I've gotten it at a few restaurants and they don't make it right, and I just feel like I'm just eating a shitty potato.
But if I'm going to be honest, what I get most of the time, it's pretty basic. It's going to be like the breakfast skillet that you get. 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, 2 pieces of sausage, hash browns, like just like the basic breakfast plate. I can munch that up. Or if I'm being real, I love a bagel with all the fixings.
A bagel?
Like a bagel, cream cheese, maybe either some corned beef or some lox with it.
Lox.
Maybe like a lox sandwich. Oh, I could mess up a bagel.
See, if I really want to be like bougie, sometimes like Alex doesn't want to eat a whole bagel.
Oh,
So we always just get a half.
I always go everything bagel, vegetable schmear. Then you go lox, thin cut tomato, thin cut onions, some capers on top, a little bit of dill. Maybe like a squeeze of lemon on top of that.
Dude, that sounds bomb. Bomb.com. All right, I got to switch up my jersey here real quick. Next segment coming up here on today's show is based on if the Raiders take Penix at 13, who are some round 2 targets that we could be looking at?
Top beats. What do you mean? Bagel is the quintessential Jewish brunch food. If you go to any Jewish household, bagel's gonna be, you're gonna get some bagels. And then with the leftovers, you make pizza bagels. Pizza bagels go hard. Oh, you know what else? I found out that I really do like.
What?
And it might be very controversial. Fried Spam and eggs.
I mean, I'll say this.
The fried Spam that I gave you in the...
That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I am a person where if you tell me something is like something and I'm like, I don't know, it does mess with me a little bit. But if you were to just like give that to me and I don't really know what it is, I bet you I would really like it. Like, I mean, what was that? Sushi with Spam. It was very good.
Masubi.
That was good.
And they season the rice with like furake seasoning.
Yep.
I don't know, but it's like seaweed and other like Spanish or not Spanish, Japanese spices. Very good.
I got you.
Smoking a pancake.
Desert. Ron, Top Beats, Raphael, all here. I do got to tell y'all who is in our 50-50 raffle. Remember, first person to send in a 20, you get 2 entries here into our Duck Race $20 Venmo. We're going to do it at the very end of today's show. What?
That's another good one, Real Cowboy.
What?
He said, which actually we have some other super chats to roll through.
Cool.
Which we'll get to yours in just a second. Real Cowboy. Navman.
Jamari Murray was the first one. So, Jamari, you get your 2 spots here on the show. Murray is in. Frank Arias is in. 93 Navman, you are in. No Santana in. LA Crash Dog, good morning. In. Justin Gilbert is in. And right now, as it stands, $20 Venmo, you would have the opportunity to win $80 because David Mark also in.
93 Navman, shrunken questions. Mitch, are you high? Sometimes I wonder, is it legal in Texas? Chugs has the formula. Love you, no shit, Mitch.
Now, no. I will say there's always been a joke that like Chugs and I are like, we do drink a lot. It'd be kind of funny to be able to do that on a show, but it is illegal in Texas.
Yeah, so we don't do it.
We're not allowed to do it.
We don't do that because
David,
it's not legal.
David, what's up, man? Hey, Mitch, say we don't get a quarterback in round 1 or 2. Do you believe
Spencer Rattler fits into our system?
Do you believe Spencer Rattler fits into our system? I think Rattler's got enough talent that he can fit in the right system. I will admit, like, we talk a lot about these quarterback prospects, right? But I'll also sit up here and say, like, I do think Rattler needs to be coached by the right person. I don't trust Raiders quarterback coach Rich Scangarello because he's been fired 6 times and he has struggled so much. I also don't trust Luke Getsy right now. So, like, there's a lot of reasons why I picked Jaden, because Jaden is AP's guy, and I think that works out. A lot of the other quarterbacks make me so nervous just because I don't trust our quarterback coach and I don't trust our OC right now. Maybe they prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong. What up, Gunny? I'm up. What's up, fans? Did I miss any big news? Raider Nation for life, Semper Fi. The only thing you missed were some conflicting rumors, like Tafur said that the Raiders were interested in Penix, or like whispers that could take him.
Mitch said he doesn't trust the front office to draft in the middle rounds.
I said you said that they've done a great job in like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and so on. They have not.
I feel like that's where y'all's best players are.
Yes, but also like you go back and you look at the 2019 draft. Crosby's it, right? Like
4th rounder.
4th rounder. I mean, Renfro was a good pick too, right? Then you look at the 2020, or Hobbs is in that draft as well. You look at the 2020 draft. I mean, that's a really, the only person, the last Raider stand on that was your 4th rounder, Meek. They didn't have a 5th, 6th, or 7th.
See, there you go, 4th rounder.
4th round has been the Raiders' hot spot.
And you want to give it away?
Yes, I do, for an extra first. No, love the pick. If somehow we miss on any QB, what trade options would AP have to become a Super Bowl contender? Sorry if I take a while to ask questions. I listen at work. No, you're good. I just sometimes when you guys throw me like 8 different questions in one, I am so scatterbrained that it's hard for me to like just really focus on just one question. I mean, here's the thing. If you miss on quarterback, I don't think you're winning the Super Bowl with Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. Like, I don't.
I also don't think there's any trade that you can make to get a Super Bowl contending quarterback.
That's my point.
If there's a Super Bowl contending quarterback on a team, more than likely they're not going to trade that guy.
Correct.
So,
yeah, I think if you miss on quarterback in the draft, the Raiders have a shot. Like, I think the Raiders are going to win 10 games this year. I really do. With Aiden or Gardner, they could.
Now, something that I could see, and very sneaky, which I don't know the exact contract details, how it would work out.
Okay.
But could you imagine the Seahawks draft Michael Penix?
Okay.
They have an, influx of quarterbacks there. They also have Sam Howell in the building. Raiders miss on a quarterback this year. Trade a late pick for Geno after the season. I don't hate it.
I don't love it. I'm also not a big Geno fan. I think Geno had one really good year. Like, I don't think Geno's a top 16 quarterback in the NFL.
He's top 20 though.
Probably. But again, I'm probably good on Geno.
Yeah, maybe not.
Cowboy, fried chicken between biscuits covered in gravy. This is the first time you tune into the Raiders Report, and this is what you see.
Just a super chat. No question. Just imagine this is like a radio call-in show for the Raiders. It's like, no question. I just want to let you know, fried chicken between biscuits covered in gravy. That's all I have for you. Real cowboy out.
Somebody's listening to the show right now. They're like, is he in a drive-thru and he just accidentally called us? Like, what exactly happened there?
Another good one, biscuit sandwich.
All right, this might be a hot take.
Oh, maybe. If we're
I think biscuits are my least favorite, I guess, bread for a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather a bagel. I would rather...
Bagels. What about did you ever get those biscuits that I ordered here, the Maple Street? I thought those were
they're good. But again, like, if I have to choose between, like, a bagel or I don't know, like bread. Like
Bread.
I will take bread, like hamburger buns, over a biscuit.
I mean, can we be honest here? Have an honest conversation.
King's A, it's too dry.
The best breakfast sandwich, and I don't care if it comes from a fast food restaurant, is a McGriddle.
See, I will disagree with you on that.
Sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles
they're good,
they
but
slap so hard.
they're good, but like I'm only gonna eat one. Like I need a mixture of like other things.
That with a hash brown on the side, that breakfast is top tier.
I will say this though, like for breakfast, it's probably one of the only meals of the day that I don't crave sweet. Like dinner time, I always crave sweet. Lunchtime, I crave sweets. In the morning for breakfast, I want like salty, savory. Like that's where in the morning for me, I will take bacon and eggs.
I'm going sweet and savory for breakfast. Like one of my favorite things that I used to get all the time before school, like in elementary, middle school, high school.
Randall Carter, you in? Yeah.
And you can still get them at the store in the freezer section. They were the breakfast corn dogs.
I don't like.
Oh,
I don't like hot dogs.
At school, the breakfast corn dogs used to hit so hard. With you know what I'm talking about though?
No.
It looks like a corn dog, but it's breakfast sausage in the middle, covered in pancake.
Did you got that at school?
I used to get them at school all the time. You can get them in the freezer section now, like at the store.
I guess you just had different food at your high school.
Real Seeps. Breakfast corn dog? You know what I'm talking about? No?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Great, right? Brett knows. Marshall knows. Dude, breakfast corn dogs.
A glizzy before noon. Holy shit!
You're telling me at school y'all didn't have the breakfast corn dogs?
No.
What?
Dude, I mean, again, I can remember when we got Uncrustables. That was a big deal at my high school.
Dude, the breakfast pizza that they would have at like elementary schools, middle schools. You know what I'm talking about? No? What?
No. We got pizza.
Dude, the breakfast pizza? You've never had breakfast pizza?
Yes, now as an adult, but in high school.
No, like I'm talking about the ones that you get in school. Breakfast pizzas.
Never got them.
Oh, dude.
Never got them.
You didn't live.
It sounds like Danville, Pennsylvania doesn't have the same budget of whatever school you went to.
We had saltine crackers and expired chocolate milk.
No, expired.
Expired.
Love Spam Masubi. Japanese seasoning is food.
No.
Yes.
Oh, what?
We used to get
You're
that.
saying that that's a normal thing, but everything that I was saying was
cinnamon
weird.
rolls and chili.
Chili and cinnamon rolls.
That was a thing in my elementary school. Cinnamon bun and chili.
How is that a normal elementary school food?
I don't think it is.
Tex, back me up here.
I'm not saying it is, but we got it.
Have you ever had cinnamon rolls and chili? But you've had breakfast pizza, right, at school?
For school lunch. There were days where all they served is a cinnamon roll with chili on top.
You know what I'm talking about? Tex, you know what I'm talking about, though, with
ours were on
pizza
top.
And breakfast corn dogs. Exactly. These two people are trying to make me act like I'm crazy.
I'm saying we didn't have it. I'm not saying you're a liar. If you lie about this, what else do you lie about?
Dude.
I'm with Tizo. That was something that we used to get.
Chili is wild. It was very good.
See, I never got it. I'll admit, but I was a very picky eater when I was a kid. I actually didn't eat meat really until I was like 12.
Martin's eating beans out of the tin with his breakfast.
Yeah, I legitimately, I didn't eat I would eat some chicken, and my dad used to get mad at me for this, but all I would eat as a kid up until I was about 12 years old was green beans, chicken, and potatoes every night.
Every night.
Ask my dad. Every night. And then there was one random day him and I were sitting at a Wendy's, and I tried a cheeseburger, and then I changed my eating habits. I swear to God, you can ask him.
So you legit only ate 3 things.
I mean, I'll say this. I probably ate 10 things. Like, I would eat pizza, but if you were to ask me, 90% of my diet was what I just mentioned to you.
That's wild.
I mean, if my dad's here right now, he can back me up because he knows.
Whatever my mom or dad cooked, that's what I ate.
Well, same. That's just what I ate.
every night they were like, you know what, chicken, potato, green bean.
Yeah, honestly. That's what we ate. Not for their choice. It was just I was a very picky eater when I was a kid. Nabman, SOS, the brunch in the military world, Gunny. I'm going to guess they didn't get the best food. Or did they? I don't know. I'm going to guess not.
As Noah Santana, Chugs is referring to pig in a blanket for the breakfast corn dog, I think. I feel like pig in a blanket was not...
Pigs in a blanket's different.
Yeah.
I've
like
seen I've seen what you're talking about now. No, it's literally a breakfast sausage wrapped in a pancake. It's what it is.
Exactly.
It's not sticking out either. It's not. Like kolache, it sticks out. Yeah, not a donut. Andrew Garcia, if y'all haven't had frittata at brunch, you haven't lived. Better than quiche or an omelet, easier to eat than eggs.
I like a good frittata.
Frittata can get it. I love all food now. I really do. Andrew, that's the last super chat that I see, and then I jinxed it. Jay Cino.
My guy.
Yep. And that's how he starts it. My guys.
Oh.
That's why I thought you were saying it.
No.
My guys, almost 420. What about Spencer Rattler? He seems more pro-ready than a lot of top prospects because SC's pro-style offense. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's because of SC's pro-style offense. I'm going to say because Spencer Rattler does have a lot of tools to be a successful quarterback into the NFL. I like him as a round 3 target. Like, if you were to ask me, Spencer Rattler in round 3 or Bo Nix in round 2, I'm taking Rattler every single day of the week. However, though, I do think Rattler is still a project, and because I don't trust Scangarillo, and I don't know what I think about Getsy, I don't really trust him yet either, that does scare me a little bit, and that's why I'm like so in on Jaden, because outside of Jaden, there's no other quarterbacks that I sit up here and I'm like, that guy's worth a pick. Yeah. Now, I did a mock where I took Rattler at pick 148 in round 5. I'm on board with that. But JC, if you want to send any more books, man, let me know.
Yep, let me know.
All right, we got 700 people here
I love your books.
In the building. Yeah, that's actually, it's almost a year ago. 367 days ago.
This hand.
Yep, broken.
It's so funny because nobody even knew.
What?
Like, after I did that, like...
I knew. I remember, I can remember saying to you, did you hurt your hand? Because instantly, you were like...
Oh, yeah.
Instantly. I mean, you might not remember it, but I do.
I just remember...
You were a little litty.
I remember saying bye to Max Crosby's parents, and then I felt like I had an obligation to shake Max Crosby's dad's hand.
Yeah,
most painful handshake of my life.
It's like one of those, like, you ever been in a handshake with somebody and you're like, this needs to end at any moment? I'm not saying that's what happened with Max's dad, but like you like get into a handshake with somebody and they like are still in the middle of a conversation. If a handshake lasts more than 2 minutes or 2 seconds.
2 minutes.
2 minutes is a ridiculous handshake. All right, this is all y'all's homework assignment this weekend. I want you to try to shake a complete stranger's hand for longer than 10 seconds. Some of you never, your significant other introduces you to somebody. That's awkward. You got to do it, though.
I didn't like that. At all. All right.
2-minute handshake. Yep. I hear you. Straight jacket time. Let's talk about some rumors. Let's talk about Penix if he does end up going off the board here at 13.
Let's talk about it.
Who are some other prospects that the Raiders could potentially target in round 2? Top beats beyond weird moment. Ooh, that's a good point. Let me get my script up here, and I think we're ready to get this show on the road. You ready to get this one rocking?
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready to get this one rocking? Remember, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now, you'd have a chance to win $90. Last person I got in, Randall Carter. We're going to do that at the very end of today's show. Raider Nation, what's going on? I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, we're going to talk about some reports around Penix potentially going off the board at 13 and who the Raiders could take if they end up taking him at 13 and round 2 at 44. Wouldn't be able to do today's show, though, if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, 8 Sleep. And if anybody out there is legitimately struggling sleeping, I got the trick for you. Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. So coming up here on the Raiders Report, I got 10 players that the Raiders could target in round 2 at pick 44. If the reports are true from Vic Tafur that the Las Vegas Raiders are eyeing Penix at pick number 13, to me, let's say we're in this hypothetical world that we live in because we talk about round 1 picks all the time. Raiders go Penix at 13, then what could the silver and black do following that round? If you haven't seen the report from Tafur, here's what it is. It was in a mock draft that he ended up doing. The whispers are getting louder that the Raiders just might take Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. here. Penix's stock has risen since he had clean medicals at the NFL Scouting Combine. He has the best deep ball in the draft, but in our book, is still a bit of a project mechanically to be taken this high. It's bad value. So what I thought I would do here is in the grand scheme of an offseason, we talk about pick 13, we talk about the first-round pick over and over and over again. Well, let's talk about round 2 here a little bit more. We got pick 44 on the clock, and this entire segment is based on the idea of the Raiders just took Michael Penix Jr. at 13. What should the Raiders do in round 2? To make sure that you never miss any draft videos that we drop, I want you to hit that subscribe button. It does help out Chugs and I a lot. I know a lot of times people always ask, Mitch, how can I support the channel? The biggest way you can support the channel is by subscribing and watching. And if you know a Raider fan that also enjoys listening to content, tell them to subscribe. I want to continue to grow this family. I want to get to 168,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. And people that I know are always here, always rocking with me are the Noti Gang. People that are subscribed, people that have turned on that notification bell, people that take pride in themselves to be in those comments early. Because when I drop a video, those are the people that I always see because I'm there on YouTube dropping that video. So to Dan, Take Flight, Anthony, Song, and Caleb, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of y'all. So let's look at some of these Raiders draft needs right now because to me, I would say based on right now, the Raiders' biggest draft needs are you got to find a quarterback, offensive tackle, corner, offensive guard, wide receiver, and a linebacker. Now, this is obviously based on right now. This is not based on if the Raiders draft Penix. If the Raiders end up drafting Penix, well then everything just, you move it up one spot. When we started this show, I really wanted to create an idea of how could I get more interactive with people that, I can't see. I talk to a camera right here. That's all it is. That and Chugs, which, Chugs is sometimes really just tries to get underneath my skin. But what is the Raiders' biggest draft need right now? He's smiling like, oh, tell me. What's the Raiders' biggest draft need right now? I just told you what I think the Raiders' biggest need is. And if you decide to go with Penix at 13, does that change your outlook on what you're going to potentially do? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So please scroll on down and give me your answer. So coming up here on the show, we got 10 players that the Raiders could potentially pick here at number 44 if they do decide to go Penix at 13. I will admit that these are ranked from 10 down to 1, and the only way that these players were able to make my list is I ran 10 mock drafts. I ran them on PFN, PFF, and ESPN's new mock draft tool, okay? And if that player was not available to me at least 50% of the time, 5 out of 10 for you math nerds out there, then they were not allowed to make my list. Coming in here at number 10 of targets at pick 44, I think this one might surprise some people. Braden Fisk, the defensive tackle from Florida State, because let's face it, defensive tackle's not really a big-time need for this organization. But here's the one thing that I know. That Tom Telesco, that this organization believes in building in the trenches. And based on how much money you're seeing some of these defensive tackles get on the market, what if the Raiders say, cool, we're going to roll with John Jenkins, Adam Butler for another year. We got Christian Wilkins. Then we're going to draft Fisk, and then we're going to let him be an absolute dog after those guys leave the following seasons. And now you have a cheap defensive tackle paired with Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, and then maybe a Tyree Wilson. He was one of the biggest winners from the NFL Combine. Dude gives 110% on every single snap, and he just always finds himself near the football. He can get after the quarterback. He can protect the run. The other reason why that I am putting him on this list, Max Crosby gave a shout-out to 2 players at the press conference on Monday. One of those was Braden Fisk, and simply was just like, that guy is a dog. And I know that Antonio Pierce wants to bring more people like Fisk who match that tenacity that, like, we got to be in there first. We got to be the last people to leave. And Brandon Fisk does that. And if Max Crosby's already saying this guy's name, I do think the Raiders might at least listen to it. Let's go to number 9 here on our list. It's Chris Braswell, the edge from Alabama. And Braswell was a very intriguing player who has already had a lot of experience with Raiders defensive line coach Rob Leonard. Rob Leonard was coaching him up at the Senior Bowl, and obviously those two had the opportunity to work together a little bit. But also on top of that, I do think he could be this like edge linebacker hybrid at the next level. Like, he's got really good burst to get off the line and go get a quarterback, and this could be another player where it's like, you know, there might be a situation. We talk all the time, oh, let's extend Malcolm Kuntz. What if Kuntz wants a lot of money? And then you bring in Braswell here. You let him learn behind Kuntz for a season, and then that's a cheaper edge rusher that you can get. The fact that also Braswell spoke so highly of Rob Leonard at the NFL Combine, on top of Leonard's connection with him from the Senior Bowl, you add all of those things together, and all I'm saying is it's just somebody to keep in mind. Before we get into the top 8 players that I think the Raiders could potentially target, at pick number 44, if they go with Michael Penix Jr. at 13, I'll tell you who they are, but I got to give a shout-out to today's sponsor. And I love me some 8 Sleep, the high-tech solution to your age-old sleeping issues. 8 Sleep's Pod 3 cover slips right over your mattress, bringing heating and cooling tech that keeps you comfortable and sleeping deeper for a better, more restful night. I love 8 Sleep because it has totally stopped my night sweats. I like to snuggle with my dog, Chuck, but my man is like a heater, and thanks to 8 Sleep, I don't wake up sweating and get a better night's sleep. The pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperature based on your individual needs. The cover can be added to any bed sheet and allows you and your partner to cool or warm your side of the bed as low as 55 degrees and up to 110 degrees. In addition to keeping you at the perfect temperature all night, the pod also tracks your sleep and health metrics. On average, pod users see their sleep quality improve by 32% after just a month on the pod. So Nation, what are you waiting for? Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports and get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover. Buy 8 Sleep. Invest in the rest you deserve with the 8 Sleep pod. Here we go, number 8 on my list. It is TJ Tampa. And if anybody down there in Tampa is sweating in their bed, then you definitely need to get started with our sponsor here, 8 Sleep. Tampa to me is a corner that I like. I will admit I do not love him. This is somebody that I would like for the Raiders to try to get in the 3rd round, but I'll be real, I don't see him falling to round 3. So because of that, I have him on this board here, where I kind of have him as like a prospect ranked in the 50s somewhere. Physical corner, got long arms, huge hands, and uses that to his advantage when he presses. And if the Raiders take him, he can be that press corner that you're looking for. He's got okay burst. I will say, does appear to lack true top-end speed to probably be able to handle some of these top receivers if you are legitimately going to be the number 1 corner on this team. He is an outside corner only, and he does struggle against quick receivers. So if you're Patrick Graham, if you're Antonio Pierce, if you're this defense, you do got to figure out a way to make sure that he's in these right situations. And luckily, you got a Nate Hobbs, you got a Jack Jones, a Marcus Epps, you got somebody also on the back end like a Trevon Merrick. The Raiders have the right pieces, but I will say Tampa on our defense, I do think he can have a lot of success because I anticipate that we're going to be able to bring 4 and get a lot of pressure on the QB. Let's go to number 7 here for my targets at pick 44. It's Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker from Texas A&M. My notes on Edgerrin Cooper are that this dude is just an absolute freak of a human nature, and I actually think that he might be a better edge rusher than just a pure linebacker at the next level. He's a physical player. He's got elite top-end speed and burst to really get after the quarterback, and it's really fun to watch him play. My favorite thing about him is I think he's one of the best QB spies that I've seen coming out of college. So if you want to be able to say, okay, we're going to bring 4, we're going to drop 6, and then Edgerrin Cooper, your job is to make sure that Patrick Mahomes doesn't pick up first downs. That's a pretty damn valuable option for the silver and black. He loves to hit stick guys, which does make him miss like anybody that ever played Madden or a college football game, and you and your buddies are playing and you're going to try to hit the hit stick. You miss sometimes because you're going for that big hit. That ends up what happening with Cooper, but because of his athletic ability, I would love to see him with Antonio Pierce, with Patrick Graham, pick 44. I know it's not the biggest need, but he's a hell of a player, and out of all these guys, he might be the one dude that I say might ends up going round 1. Let's go to number 6 here, offensive guard Christian Hayes from UConn. And this one, I'll be real, is probably based on a little bit more of a need based on where I think he ends up going. I don't know if he's a top 50 prospect, but I will say that he's probably the best true right guard in this year's draft. What do I mean by that? There are some offensive tackle prospects that some people think might get kicked into right guard or guard in general. Hayes is a right guard to me. Like that's where he's going to play. He's going to be a guard. There's nothing else besides that. This could also help keep Parham on the left side is what that's supposed to say, so that's on me. So if you end up having Hayes here at right guard, you can keep Parham over there on the left side, and then you have Cody Whitehair, who can just be that extra little bit of depth piece on your O-line. He's a 4-year starter. He's a team captain, plays with a lot of intelligence. Like, he's not the smartest dude out there, but like if you like Parham, where you're like, all right, this guy's a really intelligent blocker, that's what Haynes also brings to the table here. And then if you're able to add him on that right side of your offensive line, that probably means that you're going to end up keeping Thayer Munford as right tackle. So you just end up protecting Penix's blind side just a little bit better. So here's my next question. You tell me, if the Raiders draft Penix at 13, which prospect should they target at pick 44? I've already gone through 5 names. Obviously, the next 5 names are the names that I would really be hoping that Pierce and Telesco figure out a way to get it done. But this show's about all of y'all. If the Raiders draft Penix at 13, who should they target at pick 44? Let's go to pick 5 here. It's Peyton Wilson, linebacker from NC State. And this is another dude that I do think could go in round 1. He's had a lot of unlucky history, I guess, with his ACLs, his knees. But just like Penix, if the Raiders end up taking Michael Penix Jr. because the concern is the medical, well, I would say if you take Penix in round 1, you're not concerned about the medical. Same thing here. I'm not concerned about the medical with Peyton Willis because he is the best athlete in this year's class. To me, his versatility makes him the perfect linebacker in a Patrick Graham defense. Like, if it wasn't for that injury history, he would be an absolute lock as a top 50 pick. And what's funny is there were some people who thought that, oh, he might not go top 50. I'm going to bet my house that he ends up going top 50 now because of what he's able to do, the leadership that he brings, his ability to get after the football. Peyton Wilson is a dog, and all the numbers indicate that. Like, you don't find many guys that are 6'4", 240 pounds, that can run a 4.4, 340, that can also tackle the way that he does, the way that he can cover. Like, this is an opportunity where you put him out on the field with Robert Spillane, with Divine Diablo, with a Luke Masterson, okay? Wilson's going to be him and Spillane. Those are your top 2 linebackers. That also then helps you potentially say goodbye to Divine Diablo in the offseason. Helps Luke Masterson a little bit more. And I'm a sucker for wanting to put AP, Peyton Wilson, and Patrick Graham together. But let's get into the show where, to me, this is where it really starts to get interesting. Coming in here at number 4, I got Ennis Rakestraw, the corner from Missouri. And Rakestraw might not be a great fit with a lot of other teams out there. Because of the way he plays, he will be a great fit with the silver and black. He is a highly competitive player, and he's got a lot of toughness. Like, what AP is looking for, he wants that fire. He wants that player that, like, he can look across and just get motivated from. Rakestraw is going to be somebody that motivates you. He is a press man corner, and he's got excellent body control. When you're going up against Rakestraw, you're going to feel him, right? And if you're bringing 4 like the Raiders are going to bring a lot of 4 with their front 4 that they're going to have, Rakestraw is going to have success because he's going to get up on players, and they're not going to be able to get off the line of scrimmage all that easily, and then that's going to convert to potentially more turnovers. I will admit, if you want somebody that's got more versatility, it's not your guy. He's not great in zone, and he does get handsy with speedy receivers, which is one of the reasons why I do think that he's just always up so close to the line and really trying to jam guys up there. At 6 foot, 190 pounds, from Dallas, Texas, maybe we can get him here on the show. But Ennis Rakestraw, to me, is a very good cornerback that in the right system, with this team, this swagger, you put him and Jack Jones on the field together, man, oh man, that's a lot of swagger. Let's go to number 3 here on my list. It is Cooper Beebe, the offensive guard from Kansas State. Now, a lot of people that I talk to, they really like Beebe. They see him being a top 40 pick. Actually, one scout that I talked to said because he was so reliable at Kansas State and because a lot of NFL teams think that Kansas State offensive linemen are very pro-ready, that he could potentially be a round 1 pick. He's got experience. He's got that, I'm going to use the word girth because dude is just a thick human being. He's got drive blocking talent, which I think is going to make him a long-time starter here at the next level. Does have short arms, which is why I see him as a guard, and that might end up hurting him against certain pass rushers, but he's a day one starter at left guard. Day one starter at left guard. You have Colton Miller, Cooper Beebe, Andre James, Dylan Parham, Thayer Munford. That is a really, really fun and intriguing offensive line to me that, yeah, you still got Munford protecting his right side there at tackle, and I'll always say, like, if you do end up taking Penix, if I'm Colton Miller, I go, I'll play right tackle. You can let Thayer go over on the left side. Like, if I'm Colton, that gives me an opportunity to show a whole other thing to my bag when I'm also trying to get an extra contract extension coming up here a little bit. So Cooper Beebe at number 3. Let's go to number 2 here, though, on my list. And what's interesting about offensive tackle prospects in this year's draft, there's a lot of guys that I like in round 1. Where the Raiders are picking at 44, there's a lot of other, like, left tackles, and Kingsley Suamaitai, I think is how you pronounce it, something like that, from BYU. Now, we've heard a lot of different pronunciations. He did play left tackle. However, he also played right tackle in 2022. So, when he played right tackle in 2022, I actually thought that his tape looked better. He didn't allow a single sack in 2022 in 687 snaps. He's got good size, solid play strength, sloppy hands, could hurt him against speedy edge rushers. But, like, again, if you're talking about the fact that you took Penix here, right, and the fact that you ended up taking Penix, like, I do think it's important that you then try to find that right side of your offensive line. And if you end up drafting here Kingsley, then you have Dylan Parham at right guard. I think then that gives you the ability to put Thayer Munford at left guard next to Colton Miller. He's 6'6", he's 325 pounds. I do think that this would be a solid pick for the Silver and Black based on round 44, pick 44. If it's round 44, man, the NFL draft, Chugs and I, we're going to be live for a long time. But let's go to number 1 here. And this one, I almost didn't put in the show because I know what I said about 50% of the time. I don't think Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be here at 44. And however, though, based on the mock drafts that I did, he was available 5 out of the 10 times, and it was the best value out there. If the Raiders draft ended up going Michael Penix Jr., Kool-Aid McKinstry, the next player that I'm targeting at 77 would be Roger Rosengarten, the offensive tackle, the right tackle for Penix the year before. And if I'm Antonio Pierce and I'm Tom Telesco, and if I come out of my draft with those top 3 players, I like where I'm at a lot. He has confidence to play on an island. And if you're going to be in a Antonio Pierce defense and they want you to be a priority at cornerback 1, you need to have the confidence to play on an island. I know a lot of people say they do, but the tape shows that with Kool-Aid. And we talk so highly about Terrion Arnold. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I'm telling you, at Alabama's Pro Day was unbelievably impressive. His acceleration, great. You could also put him back there to return punts. I'll admit, if you draft a corner to be potentially your number 1 guy, maybe you don't want to put him back there. Maybe let a guy like Trey Tucker continue to do his thing. Extremely intelligent player, and he's always going to be ready for game day. Like, this is going to be somebody that they're going to show up early with the Max Crosbys. They're going to leave late. Like, I want dudes that love football. And Antonio Pierce spoke on Monday, and one of the things he kept saying was like, if you don't want to be here, like if you're not happy to be here, then shame on you. Shame on you. You're not going to have to worry about that with Kool-Aid because this guy is a dog like we want here in the Silver and Black. Let's play a fun little game, though, because these are all different positions out there. If you could pick one to draft at 44, if Penix was the pick at 13, who would you go with? Would you go with Kool-Aid, type KM? Would you go with Kingsley, type KS? Cooper Beebe, give me a CB. Or would you go with Peyton Wilson, type PW? Now, these were my top 4 players that I put here on this show, and you can go in a lot of different directions. You go the corner from Bama. You can go the offensive tackle from BYU. You can go the offensive guard from Kansas State. You can go with the linebacker from NC State. There's a lot of good depth here in this draft, and based on a lot of the picks that you guys are saying, I'm seeing a lot of KMs for Kool-Aid McKinstry. Bottom line is, if you don't know, Chugs and I, we are going to be live for the entire NFL draft. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you got those notifications turned on because we are going to be having a lot of fun. If you also made it this far in the video and you want to share my top 10 prospects that the Raiders should target at pick 44 if they pick Michael Penix Jr. at 13, always remember I'm on IG and I am on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. The only way that this show continues to grow is with the support of the nation. So if you know people out there that enjoy Raiders content, that listen to podcasts, that just honestly like to talk about chicken and waffles and eggs Benedict, guess what? Chugs and I, we love to do all that stuff. Hit that subscribe button. Tell them to join the fam. Crash Dog, the Carl's Jr. breakfast burger is the best. Another one. Like, first time watcher, you're just like, all right. See, I've never had Carl's Jr.
I'm not a big Carl's Jr. guy myself.
To me, Carl's Jr. reminds me of White Castle. And if I'm like, all right, I'll go get fast food, there's never been a day in my life where I'm like, I'll have Carl's Jr. or White Castle. Like, I'll drive that extra whatever to go literally anywhere else.
Whataburger has a pretty bomb breakfast sandwich.
Here's the thing. I actually think Whataburger's breakfast sandwiches are very overrated.
Butter chicken biscuit?
That's not what I'm talking about. When I think of
like the breakfast burger?
Yes.
You didn't like it?
I think that the bun, when I eat breakfast, I don't want to have a hamburger bun.
That with
throws me off.
That with the breakfast burger from Whataburger with the spicy ketchup.
See, to me, if I'm gonna have something breakfast,
fire.
I need like an egg McMuffin or like a McMuffin. I need a bagel. I don't want a hamburger bun for my egg sandwich, which I didn't know at the time. And then Alex was like, "Oh, you got to get this." I was like, "Yeah," but that's usually what we get.
Get it with the Texas toast instead.
Sure. I'll say this: if I go to Whataburger, I usually just get a burger. Like, I'd rather just get a burger.
Yeah.
All right, let me switch up my jersey here real quick, and then again, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365, 20 to get in. Right now, you'd win $90.
Also, while Mitch isn't on the mic, I did some sleuthing while he was talking about Cooper Beebe. ESPN has him at ranked 79. PFF 90. Tom has him at around 50, he told me. Brugler has him at 50. Really? Yeah. Nope, right here, number 50. Cooper Beebe. But yeah, could go early 50s, but other people think he might go round 3.
Well, if he goes round 3, even better. Even better. We got 700 people here. Can we get to 420 likes?
Tom did say he had him top 50. And Brugler has him at 50.
At 50? See, I just think, like, he's going to be such a pro-ready guy right away, where if you take somebody like Penix, like, you need an instant pro-ready guy that can step in.
I just feel like guards always go later than what we expect. Like, that's why there's not going to be a guard that goes in the top 20. I mean, maybe Troy Fatanu, but he has tackle abilities as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. He's also got long arms. Like, I think he stays as a tackle. I really do, but I've been wrong before. Let me refresh my phone here real quick.
We have a super chat coming in as well.
We still got 9 people in. Ed, what do you think of the Raiders signing Donovan Smith? It's going to cost. It would be a lot of money.
And he's played mostly left tackle.
Correct, and he was horrendous last year.
Didn't he already?
He was. I actually don't know if he signed already. He was what? He was with the Chiefs. He was with the Chiefs last year, and I think he gave up. I mean, how many sacks did he give up? I feel like he gave up double-digit sacks last season. Off the top of my head, let me see.
Oh, he's a free agent right now. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, he was horrendous last year. See, this says only 2 sacks allowed. Who am I thinking of then? I thought
He is old though.
He is old, but yeah, I mean, you don't really need him then. Like, if I'm the Raiders, I'm looking specifically for right side at tackle because, you know, in a pinch, like you're like, oh, Munford could play left tackle. I don't know really what they think of a guy like Dalton Wagner. I mean, that's obviously is what it is, but no, I'm good on Donovan Smith. I mean, he had allowed 6 sacks the year before that. Yeah, I mean, he's also had a mobile quarterback where, man, the one thing that does scare the hell out of me, like Aiden's probably the worst quarterback in the pocket in the NFL right now. Like, he doesn't have good awareness, and I'm not even going to get in that. Doesn't have good awareness at the quarterback position. Also is the least mobile potential starting quarterback this season. So I do think that you have to be able to figure out a way to get it going. What? Oh. I was like, what happened? I thought he did that to you. I was like, you too now.
Oh, no, not me yet. Or at least I don't think so. I don't really.
Soon.
I don't look him up.
That's fair. There's not much there.
I would know.
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly not much to get there. Not much.
Richie Incognito? No, I don't think so.
Richie Incognito. That's a hell of a name drop. I mean, I can remember when Richie hurt his ankle in preseason. Everyone's like, he'll be back. Missed the whole season. Problem is, when you're 40 years old and you have a lower body injury, it's not that easy to get the engine revving. That's why I can't play basketball anymore.
I was just about to say.
I could see it in your face. You look like Chuck when I pull out a treat. You're just ready to go.
Oh, I wish Rolly was out there.
Why?
Because he wasn't here earlier for the news.
What news?
Of your retirement.
Yeah, I don't even think it's. I think I told everyone yesterday. Maybe people didn't believe me, but I'm pretty sure I told every single person yesterday I'm not playing anymore. Dude, I mean, I went in the game and I got 3 or 4 minutes, and after that I was like, my knees can't do it. And I came out and I said, anybody else can go back in the game. The only time that I got back up is when I thought Petey or somebody, I was like, they need a breather, and they waved me off, and I was like, I'm just going to go sit back down. No way I can do it.
But you go running.
It's different. I can run straight. Basketball, I cannot cut. And there were times yesterday where I got hit with picks, and I had to start, stop, and it's just, I'm not doing it, man. I don't have good knees. I've torn my ACL on my left, my LCL and my meniscus in my left, and on my right I've torn my LCL and my MCL. My knees are not good. And yesterday was a very humbling experience of I can't run full court. Half court basketball, I can play. Full court with guys that used to play D1, no. I can't do it. There's just no way, dude. And I don't want to. And I probably cared the least out of everyone yet. There were guys yesterday that I was like, they wanted it a lot more than I did. So let them play. I mean, that's fair. You care. Yeah. You were good. You cared a lot about that game. Rolly cared a lot about the game. Seeps cared a lot. Even Chip was going nuts, which I was surprised. But give the playing time to them. Petey, they all did. I'm good.
Lawson Tynes, I had probably 10 points, 5 rebounds.
And he was going up against a 6'6" guy. Might have been a lot. 6'5".
Probably 10 points, 5 rebounds, maybe 1 assist.
The free throw shooting was ugly.
Free throw was bad.
We're gonna have to work on that.
I had 4 free throws and I missed all of them.
We're gonna have to work on that. Yep, that was not great, but is what it is.
Well, I had 3 that just bounced off the back of the rim. 1 was just all backboard. Because then at that point, I think that was my last free throw, and I was just in my head.
You were gassed.
And I was just like, I think I just way too much arm.
So usually when somebody misses like that, you push it with your other hand.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was wide right.
I couldn't. I couldn't hit a free throw yesterday. It was back iron.
I think were you the only guy from our team that even got to the line?
Yeah, because
off the top of my head,
because nobody else was driving. Everybody else was hitting
shooting threes. Not hitting threes, shooting threes.
Everybody else was shooting 30-foot 3-pointers.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly, guys, too fast-paced of a game. It was way too fast. 40 minutes of basketball, okay? Our team, 40 minutes of basketball, run clock. The Chat Sports team did score 71 points, I want to say. The other team scored a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they were good, though.
Whenever I tell you...
They were the defending champs. They were really good.
This guy on the other team...
I literally think he was...
He shot probably 18 threes, and I think he missed 2.
He legit scored 50-something points. Again, he used to play D1. He scored 50-something points, and I don't know if he shot 20 shots. And he missed 1 open 3. The other 3 he missed because we started to play a box and 1 on him, and we obviously we're trying to not let him shoot. And it was like a fadeaway, but he was pulling up from the half-court line making them. I mean, it was unbelievable.
It was ridiculous.
It was unbelievable.
It was a guy where you're like, bro,
I picked to cover him. When I went out on the court, I go, I'll take him because he looked like the least athletic guy there. Holy shit. I was completely wrong. He dropped 4 threes on me, and it was 4 straight possessions. First time he got the ball, and again, I'm not going to cover somebody. I just can't do it. And he's like, all right, open 3, bang. Next time he comes down the court.
Even further back, Mitch is like, you know what, you can have it if you want it.
Bang.
Bang.
And then the next 2 times he came down the court.
You actually guarded him.
Bang, bang. And I was like.
Mitch looks over and he goes, Rolly goes, guard him. And you're like, I am.
I don't know what you want me to do.
You literally were like, switch.
Somebody else cover him. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Coach Coop was disappointed last night.
Well, here's the thing. We play that team 100 times, we lose 100 times.
No, I said Coach Coop was disappointed.
Coop did a good job.
Oh, yeah, I was mad.
Yep. Dan, so what happened to your match with Graff and Wasted? That's going to be a half-court game. Like, there's no way that we're going to play full court with 2 people. Half-court basketball, I can do. It's the idea of sprinting up and down a court with guys that are running. I mean, they ran legit plays. Like, they played together, I guess, for 5 or 7 years. So, it was that's not going to happen. I'll say this, though. I'm even more confident now that we're going to beat Graff and Wasted because I saw Chugs play. Like, I mean, nobody's out hustling Chugs. You got to give the man his flowers for that. And he's locking people up. He's locking old man Wasted up.
Oh, dude.
I think
no doubt.
I was going to say, I mean, even if you wanted to cover Graff, which I don't think you do, you got to cover Wasted. I think at that point, or we run a 1-1 zone.
Bro,
let them shoot.
If we played them, I at least the first or second possession, I would let them shoot just to see.
Sure.
And if they're missing, I'm like, bro, we got this in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the only way we lose that game is if Graff or Wasted has an absolute heater on and they're just making threes.
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. All right, y'all, coming up here on the show, which I think I just got another one in for our 50-50 raffle here.
Marshall, I don't know. How did Marshall do last night?
I thought he played fine.
Maybe 6 points?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many points just because, again, that other team that we played they were good. We play pickup basketball, right? Pickup basketball. Those guys played basketball in college. I don't care what level you play in college. Yeah, I don't care what level you play in college. Oh, all right. This is with that guy yesterday. VL forever. Bang! That was that guy yesterday. Every time he pulled up, bang! What up, BL? Nice jersey. Like O-line prospects in this draft and would like us to have a solid line for anyone at QB, not sexy, but effective.
That's what they called me in high school.
Not sexy, but effective? Is that not sexy, but effective?
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to think of, is there another solid line? No.
I feel like that's what you say about a girl at the very end of the night when you're drunk and you're just looking for somebody and you're like,
nope. No. See, the word that I used to always use, if I went on a date and somebody asked me oh, how was the date?
They're not sexy, but they're effective.
No, I would admit the one word that as soon as interesting, it was interesting. That's just a way to say it was a bad date. I mean, come on. When have you ever said interesting in a good way?
1:45 at night, you're at the bar, you're like,
I guess. I don't know. It's been a while. That's what I'll say. Interesting. It's very, very interesting. Oh, shout out to VL Forever. Banging here on the Raiders Report. What's up? Luis. Ron. He doesn't give you any hope. Hey, I hear you. So let's do this. I wanted to do a little bit of a different segment on today's show. Just a little bit of a different segment on today's show because we talk about all the time these players that we think that the Raiders are going to draft at 13.
All the time.
And then I feel like the Raiders kind of just do their own thing. I'm hoping different regime, different results, but we'll see. So coming up, we're going to get into players that I think the Raiders could pick at 13 that might surprise a few people out there. PrizePicks, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let me go.
Are you ready?
Actually, I'm the one that's not ready.
Oh.
Okay. I am ready to rock.
All righty.
Raider Nation, what's going on? I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I got 5 players that the Las Vegas Raiders could draft at pick 13. That would be a huge surprise to a lot of people out there. And the reason why that I'm going to make this show is because, I mean, let's face it, I've covered this team for a long time. Y'all have watched the Raiders for a long time. And when I think about just the last 8 picks, right, just the last drafts that we've had going back to 2019, I have made so many shows around the Raiders should take these players XYZ here in round 1. Yeah, I get it. Gruden and Mayock. Yeah, I get it. McDaniels and Ziegler. We've got a brand new regime with Telesco and AP. But, I feel like it's always been a surprise in first round. So what I'm going to try to do here is trying to paint a picture of who are some players that we don't really talk about that could still be selected at pick 13 because these past Raiders first round picks, the only good one in here, and sure, the Davante Adams trade, obviously that was great. Josh Jacobs was the only one, and realistically, the only pick. I still think Tyree Wilson can turn out to be a good player, and if you watch this show a lot, you'll know that I like him. Chugs really thinks that he's going to have a breakout year this upcoming season, but it should not surprise you that the Raiders have surprised us before. And the other part of this show is this. When I ask who are the Raiders going to take at 13, I would say if I could make my own betting odds, right? If I could make my own betting odds of who I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to pick, or if I were to ask 100 Raider fans, who are the Raiders going to take at 13, I would say that 95% of people would pick probably one of these 5 players right here. Is that a fair thing to assume? Terrion Arnold, Talisi Fuanga, J.C. Latham, Quinyon Mitchell, and then Michael Penix Jr. I'm talking only at pick 13, not what they could potentially do in round 1. Pick 13, these are the 5 names that you hear time and time again. So here's the thing. Those 5 players are not going to be featured here in this show. I do want to make sure that you join us for our live draft coverage because I got a lot of fun things on tap for you. I've got a lot of fun raffle prizes, got a lot of huge giveaways that we're going to be doing. And since we're live for the entire thing, every single pick, all 7 rounds, Chugs and I want y'all to hang out with us. We've done this draft a lot. We enjoy doing it, and I want you to be able to tune in to the Raiders Report. Help us be the most watched Raiders live stream for the 2024 NFL Draft. So here we go. Surprise Raiders picks at number 13, and I'm going to go from 5 and work my way down to 1. And the way that I'm doing it is 5 is the least surprising. 1 would be the most surprising. So here we go. Coming in here at number 5, Troy Fautanu, the offensive lineman from Washington. And the reason why that I'm going to put him on this list is because I've recently watched his tape over again. And dude reminds me of Rashawn Slater. Now, Slater doesn't have as long of arms. Fautanu has much longer arms. But Telesco drafted Rashawn Slater in round 1. So because he already has that connection, I do wonder if this could be something else. He crushes people in the pass game and in the run game. Super athletic, and it shows that his ability to get up to that next level. The reason why I don't know if this pick makes sense for the Raiders is because they have Colt Miller. And if you end up taking Fautanu here at number 13, I think that your hope is that he can play on that left side because I don't really think that you're going to move him to the right side. So if they end up going this route, that means to me that Colt Miller said, hey, I am open to the idea of playing on that right side. I'll also say I don't know if you're going to take him here and put him at left guard, considering that, I'm not saying Whitehair's your guy, but you also have Dylan Parham. He also is a member close to Henderson, Nevada, right? So he's already been there. The Raiders don't have to report if you have a top 30 visit with him because you're allowed to have as many local visits as you want, and you don't even have to say them. We know the top 30 visits, but in the 15 games played, 88.2 PFF grade, 3 sacks allowed at 6'4", 320 pounds. Troy Fautanu makes this list. Let's go to number 4 here. It's Amarius Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia. And I'm not saying that offensive tackle is not a big need. I'm not saying that I'd be angry if the Raiders took Amarius Mims here. However, I do think that if you asked Raider fans, asked me in general, hey, Mitch, the Raiders end up taking an offensive tackle at pick 13. If that pick wasn't if it wasn't a Talisi Fuaga or a J.C. Latham, I do think that it would catch some people by surprise. He's got that outstanding combination of size, length, and athletic ability. He does have very limited experience, just 8 career college starts. But you know what? Dude's got upside. And I mean, he's got sky-high upside. He does still need some work on that line. And if you put him in a competitive battle against the Thayer Munford and you let him earn that right tackle spot at 6'7", 340 pounds, like, what if this is how good he is based on 8 career starts? What if we haven't even tapped into his potential yet, and he turns out to be this unbelievable offensive tackle prospect? I will say, if the Silver and Black had Carmen Brasillo, I'd feel a little bit better about it compared to a brand new offensive line coach in a James Craig. But Amarius Mims, he's definitely got some upside, and he's number 4 here on my list. Coming up, I got 3 more surprising picks at pick number 13, and I think I'm going to catch a lot of people off guard with 1 and 2. Maybe not so much 3, but 1 and 2, I'm going to freak some people out here. Also, you might be freaked out that football season is over, but don't panic. You can still have a lot of fun with our sponsor, PrizePicks, and shout out to them for sponsoring the Raiders Report. And they've got specials for new and returning users alike. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and MLB entries today on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types will make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. If you want to see my picks for season long, these are the ones I'm rolling with here. Chris Jones, give me the less on 11.75 sacks for the season. Chris Stroud. CJ Stroud, give me the more on 26.5. And then Bryce Young, 18.5. I took the more on that as well. To me, these are absolute locks. And if you want to put a little bit of extra money in your pocket, go to prizepicks.com/CLNX because PrizePicks is simple. You pick more than, you pick less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already. PrizePicks.com/CLNS and get a first-time deposit match of $100. PrizePicks.com/CLNX. Jugs, put that link for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to number 3 here on my surprise pick rankings. It's Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma. I know that Sanjit has really started to say that Guyton's one of his favorite offensive tackles. I believe he has him ranked number 2, and I saw Sanjit say that, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at the tape because I do trust what he has to say about offensive linemen. I will also say that the reason why I'm intrigued by this pick is because he did have such a good Senior Bowl. And I know the Raiders really take that into a consideration. He's got length. His feet and body control traits are why I do think he's so great at the pass pro. He has battled some injuries in college, and if you're somebody that's not worried about the injury history, then maybe Guyton is a little bit higher up on your list. I personally see Guyton as the 4th best offensive tackle in this year's class. He does play with that high center of gravity, which that makes me nervous. If I see a tackle that I believe needs to put on more weight at 6'7", needs to put on more strength as well, that muscle mass, and plays with that high level of center of gravity, it does. It makes me nervous. I'll also admit, though, then his name's right now is escaping me. There was another offensive tackle from Oklahoma, had really long arms, that recently got drafted, and I was like, I don't know if he's going to end up working out. Ended up working out. Was it Orlando Brown? Maybe it was Orlando Brown. I don't know. I feel like that I wouldn't have said that, but is what it is. Anyway, with Guyton, though, I do think he's a good player, but again, this is based on if you were to tell me the Raiders took a offensive tackle at pick number 13, I think a lot of people go other direction. Not Amarius Mims, not Tyler Guyton. However, let's now really get surprising out there. Let's go to number 2 on my list for surprise targets at 13. I'm going to go with tight end, Brock Bowers. Yeah, I know, tight end. It's not a need whatsoever. But if you do base on best player available, there is a chance to me that Bowers is the best player available at number 13 because he is a top 10 prospect according to just basically anybody. He's the best tight end in this year's class, and it's really not close. On top of that, Luke Getsy does like to use tight ends in his offense. And if you're the Silver and Black and you go, well, I don't love any of the receivers that I could potentially get a little bit later on, and we do want to add another pass catcher, somebody else that we can build this offense around. Maybe it just makes more sense to put Brock Bowers next to Michael Mayer, next to Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and that's a better overall skill set of skill possession players. I'll also say that this regime didn't draft Michael Mayer. I love me some Mayer. I think he's going to be a hell of a player, but I also do not know if Getsy likes him as much. What if Getsy does really like Bowers? What if our brand new tight end, what if all of these coaches do like Bowers more than Michael Mayer? And again, you're not going to take Mayer off the field. This would be more based on the I want to run more 2 tight end sets, which Getsy did use a lot of tight ends last season. He's 6'4", he's 240 pounds, and remember, it is surprise targets at number 13. I think we can all agree Brock Bowers is a hell of a football player. Might be the best player available at 13, but it'd be a weird fit, and it definitely would be a huge, huge surprise. Before I get into number 1 of who do you think the Raiders could pick at 13, that would be a surprise. And I know this. Last year before the NFL draft, the odds for the Raiders to take an edge rusher were plus 1,000, okay? Plus 1,000. It was the 5th highest odds. There were other positions, but I can remember edge was the 5th highest odds, and the Raiders ended up going with Tyree Wilson. Alex Otherwood was a surprise. Cleveland Ferrell, surprise. Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs, they were all surprises. The Raiders have done it before. Hopefully they don't do it again. Hopefully we get a good pick. So let me know down below. Number 1 would be the most surprising, and he's a hell of a football player, and I don't think anybody's going to debate that. It is Latu, the edge from UCLA. And the reason why he ends up making this list is because edge is another position that I don't really view as being a big-time major need. However, if the Raiders are worried that they're not going to be able to bring back Malcolm Kuntz, maybe you already try to go out and get a cheaper player that you can rely on going forward. This regime didn't draft Tyree Wilson, and what happens if they don't like Tyree and they really like Latu? On top of that, Max Crosby freaking loves this guy and has been working with him in the offseason. I mean, on Monday, Max literally said that, he wants dog players like a Braden Fisk and like a Latu. I mean, Latu at the NFL Combine told our Chat Sports team that he's going to be working with Crosby this offseason. And if you know Crosby has much say as what he does with Antonio Pierce, with Tom Telesco, he might be like, hey, I know it's not a big need now, but this is one of those dudes that can change our locker room. Hell of a football player at 6'5", and he just continues to show that he's getting better and better and better. I think he could end up being one of the better edge rushers from this year's class, could end up being one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. 13 sacks with the Bruins last season. But let's be real. If you take Latu at 13 for the Silver and Black, he's a great player. But it would be a massive, and I mean massive, surprise for this organization. So one more time here. Here are my surprise pick rankings for the Las Vegas Raiders at 13. Not that I don't want any of these players to be picked, because I really don't. I'd rather them go with the guys that we kind of started the show off talking about. But at the same time, they've done it before. And I'm hoping that it doesn't happen again. However, here's the show that I did that I probably should have done in years past. I'm hoping now that I jinxed it and we end up getting the guys that we want at pick 13. What would be the bigger surprise at 13? Brock Bowers or Latu? Type BB for Brock Bowers or LL for Latu. What do you think would be the bigger surprise?
I think for this, it would be Brock Bowers.
Okay.
Because Latu, I feel like you could always use more edge rushers, where the Raiders with Michael Mayer, I guess not, because he's really good. Just coming to mind, another surprising pick that I could see the Raiders making at 13, which close your ears, Mitch. Bo Nix.
Nope.
Telesco likes him.
Nope.
Have a need at quarterback.
Nope. I literally, you can't even speak, and that's why I'm like, you can't even speak Bo Nix into existence in round 1. He's not a quarterback that should go in round 1 or round 2.
And that's why I have him as my biggest surprise pick for the Raiders at 13.
You can't do that. I figured if I put Bo in the show, everyone would be like, oh, we knew that was going to happen. I put players that I think legitimately could go in round 1.
I think Bo Nix could legitimately go in round 1.
I just don't see it. I don't see how anybody could think Bo Nix is a round 1 quarterback.
I agree. But I'm saying, if I'm going surprise pick, what if whole time we always talk about draft smoke screens?
Yeah.
Looking at this player,
We're talking so much about Penix and
Jaden Daniels. Have we heard anything about the Raiders with Bo Nix besides weeks and weeks ago that Telesco loves him.
Nope.
Maybe they're keeping it hush-hush. Maybe it's like, we don't want it to get out that we actually like Bo Nix, so he falls to us at 13. Maybe this whole Michael Penix thing, maybe all the talk with Jaden Daniels and everything is just a smokescreen to get Nix at 13. I don't think so. I don't like Nix. I already told you I don't like Nix.
No, I know. I mean, you told me that before the season.
Going in true draft fashion, true Raider draft fashion of having a surprise pick in the first round, I could see it.
I have so much hope and faith for this season, and I just want to be able to believe in AP and Telesco. I'm telling you right now, if you end up taking Bo Nix at 13, I'm going to be just as angry as what I was when the Raiders hired McDaniels. Like, I'm literally going to be right there, and I don't want it to happen because this is what I do for work, right? We do this every day, and I want to be able to do and hope that this works every single day. But, like, I'll tell you this, if you draft Bo Nix, I'm going to be on all the hype train for Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. I am. I'll tell you this, I have more confidence in Aiden these next 2 years than I would Bo.
You're getting how about this? If the Raiders draft Bo Nix, will you get an AOC jersey?
I already have one.
Oh, yeah?
I do. It's in the back. I can go get it.
You have an O'Connell jersey?
Yes. You don't believe me? I have an Aiden O'Connell jersey. You want me to go get it?
I think I know what you're talking about, but a real one.
It is real. I can wear it.
I know it's real, but
I have an Aiden O'Connell jersey.
One that wasn't fixed up by us.
Define fixed up.
No tape on the back.
Well, if I wear it the other way, then no. It's an Aiden O'Connell jersey. It's an Aiden O'Connell jersey. I have one, just for the record. Yeah, I actually think that the more surprising pick would be Brock Bowers because of the idea that Max Crosby does love Latu Latu. It would be interesting, though, no doubt about it. All right, y'all. Chugs just busted Mitch live on the air.
It's not busted. I think we've all I think we've all seen it.
Now, you guys have never seen my Aiden O'Connell jersey?
They've definitely seen it.
I was gonna say, I mean, come on. I was rocking that bad boy. When was his first start? I know he got in against the Chargers, but then I wore it for like later on in the year, and I don't remember when I did.
Remember that one Bears game when we thought Brian Hoyer could maybe do something for
Brian Hoyer? That didn't work well, did it?
No.
Then Tyson Bagent decided to put his nutsack on us 30-12 later. Though, I do think that was one of those games that was a big eye-opener of why McDaniels the Clown did end up getting fired. Yep.
All right, last chance to get in for this duck race before we head out.
Last chance to get in. This is the last chance.
We actually do also have a super chat from the Nav.
Mr. Nav. What's up, Nav? Mitch, I challenge you at age 53 to one-on-one anytime. Old military veteran. No prob, right, bro? You guys are great. 6'1", 200 pounds. You're saying you're 6'1", 200, and 53 years old. I will say, I do know there's old man strength. My dad's not in military, but he did work his entire life. So I will admit, 53-year-old version of my dad was a very intimidating human being. Though, and I guess it depends what kind of basketball we're playing, I just think against most people, like in a pickup game, I can shoot. Again, if it's half court, I'm gonna shoot with most people. That guy yesterday, no. Most people, yes. Let's do it. Let's run it. One-on-one, Nav, man. Let's go.
Only half court.
Only half court. Yeah, I'm not going full court. I can promise you this. I will never play a full court basketball game again unless it's like a Raiders charity event. The guaranteed. I don't see I'm never gonna do it.
You got like traumatized last night.
There were 2 or 3 times where I literally thought to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna pop my knee. Wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it. Andrew Garcia, you in? James Guevara, you in? James Guevara, you in? And then Scott Eckert.
It's like my buddy who will not ride on roller coasters he's like, I just won't do it. I won't do it.
I'm like that with a motorcycle. Couldn't pay me. I will never, ever ride a motorcycle. If you think I hate driving in a car, I will never ride.
Oh, my God.
I have a good reason for the motorcycle, which I'm not going to get into here, but I can tell you afterward.
If I told you you had to drive around Dallas for 4 hours or play 2 pickup games of basketball, which one would you rather?
Pick up basketball. I'm not kidding you. You can't offer me enough money to ride a motorcycle. I wouldn't do it.
No, I'm saying drive around Dallas.
Oh, drive. I thought you meant drive a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, drive. Yeah, I can drive. That's not the same. I drive. I just don't like to drive. Like, if I have to drive somewhere, I do. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But, Luis, you in.
I don't like it, but I do.
Luis Rodriguez is in, and then my man Mo Shab also in. $20 Venmo for a chance to win. $150. Oh, wow. Untouchable Raider 1960. New pick. It's been a minute. It seems we are going different direction each offseason. We used to spend big on free agency. Now they want to build through the draft. Now we should have done that. I actually think the way that the Raiders are doing it is the right way. Like, I think what you saw Telesco do this offseason is build in the trenches. And if there's one thing that people watch the show, if you don't gather that we like to build in the trenches here, then you probably haven't watched the show very often. I mean, I am a big believer of if you can't win up front, you're not winning. What do? They address the defensive line, and they address their offensive line.
Call Mitch World War I because all he does is build trenches.
All he does is build trenches. But, I mean, it's an honest thing, though. Like, and I have also don't, from the content creator standpoint of me, sure. Free agency, I want them to sign the biggest names out there. For the Raider fan in me that actually wants to win and build this thing the right way, I do think that they are building it the right way. I really, really, truly do. So, I hear you. It's been a little different. It also comes with the different regimes that we've had. And sometimes when you're brought into a situation like McDaniels, like Gruden they were the guys where their shit didn't stink. They thought they were the big man on campus, and they thought that they could do whatever they wanted and bring in these big-name players. And I think AP's a little bit more humble. You heard him talk about it with his players yesterday, where he was like, brought in Marvin Lewis, former head coach, brought in Joe Philbin, former head coach. He's like, I want you guys to learn, and I'm also going to learn. So I think that type of conversation needs to be had. All right. $20 Venmo, chance to get in. Final call. I don't have any more people in this race, which means we got winner gets 150 doll hairs. Sent to Chugs. I got Jamari Murray in twice. Frank, Navman, Noah Santana, the Crash Dog, Justin Gilbert, David Mark, Randall Carter, Andrew Garcia, James Guevara, Scott Eckert, Luis Rodriguez, Mo Shav. Those are the names. If you're like, Mitch, wait, then tell me, because I got everyone.
What if Max Crosby told you, I'll appear on the show once a week if you play the rest of the basketball season?
Oh, then yeah. That helps out work. Like, it's different. But when you say play, I just got to show up.
No, you got to play. Like
how long?
At least 15 minutes a game.
It's not going to be a good 15 minutes, I'll tell you that. I'll be there.
You're just walking up and down the court.
I'm cherry picking. You guys can play 4 guys on D and toss it up to me. I'm not playing defense. Mitch, what are the odds that Telesco passes on a quarterback this year? Build the base needs of the team and plan on a major quarterback move next year. Is it possible? Anything's possible. I'll keep saying this, right? Like, we keep kicking the can down the road of, we'll get a quarterback. But if the Raiders won 8 games last season with the worst quarterback play in the National Football League, I'm anticipating that Aiden does get a little bit better, and I'm anticipating that Gardner Minshew is the best. Gardner Minshew on that Raiders team last year, they go to the playoffs, like with that defense that they had. And if we believe that the Raiders have a top 5 defense, which I do think that they do, yeah, their offense does scare me a little bit, but you still got Devontae, you got some good pieces there that you can mix and match. Like, the run game's an unknown one, but Jacoby, Devontae, Adams, Michael Mayer, that's 3 very solid players, and if your QBs don't turn over the ball, you're going to win 9, 8, 10 games, and you're going to be right exactly where you are again. So, like, the whole quarterback thing, yes, you can continue to kick it down the road, but If there's a guy that you want, I am a believer that if there is a guy that you want, the price tag can never be too high. Go get your guy.
Go get him.
Jersey boy, grade my mock draft. Penix, Peyton Wilson, Rosengarten, Cam Hart, Ray Davis, Jackson Hunt, Trey Taylor, Drake Nugent. I mean, that sounds like a mock draft that we would have done here on this show. I mean, I like the value a lot. Again, I don't know if I'm going to give an A mock to a team that takes Penix at 13.
Give it an A because you still get the best linebacker, you get your starting right tackle, and you get
a corner that I like.
Possible starting cornerback.
A running back that I like a lot. Trey Taylor, I think, is an interesting DB.
Jalix Hunt, Sperry Psycho.
Sperry Psycho.
An absolute psychotic player.
Trey Taylor, the best DB in college football.
Jalix Hunt went from safety to not linebacker, edge rusher.
Be an athlete. Go make your money. I mean, if I was a safety in college and I felt like I could bulk up, I would do it. Why would you not? Like, you're going to make so much more money in the NFL being an edge than a safety.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Jersey boy, shout out to you. Chug's going to give it an A. I'll give it a B+. Though I do really like it. I can't give an A to a draft where you take Penix at 13. And maybe I'm wrong for that. I don't know. I still have my reservations on it. It's a pick that I can create every argument in the book of why it's a great pick. I can also be honest with you and say I do have my reservations about taking Penix there. I mean, it is just a little bit early for me. All right, let me see here. We did just get a few more people, Chugs, that entered a little bit late.
Okay.
I got Justin Sal is in, Roy G is in, and then Amy also in. And wait. Yep, that's it. Justin Sal, Roy G, and Amy.
All righty. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Winner gets 180. Can we get a quick shuff? Quick little shuff piece. All right, here we go. The horses. Good luck to all of y'all. 3, a 2, a 1. Run it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. James Guevara had the early lead. I actually like the horses because it's always back and forth. Like, Luis Rodriguez is in a good spot here. Though, you see, I was just about to say no Santana, but I'm worried he just blew it a little bit too early. I like where Jamari is. I actually low-key do like where David Mark is there in the back. I mean, this one is back and forth. Randall Carter, Garcia's in an interesting spot here. Garcia's got this one by just the nose, and now it's Navman out there to the lead. Guevara, his other horse, that might be a zebra.
Roy G.
Roy G. You know Roy G. Biv?
Mm-hmm.
Scott Eckert with the lead. Jamari in the back. Mo, Frank, David. Amy's been in a good spot for a while. She's just kind of hanging out there in the middle. Uh-oh, watch out here for Navman starting to creep up. Watch out here for Navman starting to creep up. There's only 5 seconds. Somebody needs to make a move. Roy! Let's go.
Stunting on him.
Roy G.
Big.
I mean, Guevara was right there. Same with Crash Dog. The real question is, who's getting the butthole pick? Oh, man, I don't know. All right, Roy G, where are you at?
Frank.
Also, Roy G was one of the people that got in last. So
Frank Arias gets the butthole pick.
Frank, you're the big winner today, man. Congrats to Mr. Roy G. Roy, if you could please confirm with everybody down in the chat that you just received $180, that would be a big, big help for me. Thank you, thank you. All right, Jeremy. We're 4 likes away from 420. Let's get to that, and let's get the heck out of here. Appreciate all of y'all. And I mean, Luis, how much did you pay to win, Roy? The fix was in for Roy. The fix was in. What's up, Trivan? Trivan's a freaking legend. Everyone say hi to Mount Rainier legend here, Trivan. We're actually just talking about him today. Legendary handlebar. All right, y'all. Chugs and I are going to get the hell out of here. Again, shout out to each and every one of y'all for deciding to pull up here on the Raiders Report. Believe me when I tell you, it is always greatly appreciated. The next time that you are going to see Jeremy Chugs and I is going to be on Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. To anybody that is a part of our Zoom call tomorrow, check yo email. Check your email. Just think, also, next Thursday when we get started, we'll be a week away. Week away on Thursday.
I was going to say next Thursday is the draft.
Correct. But this Thursday will be a week away.
No, you said next Thursday we're a week away.
I meant like next show.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm wrong. I should go to bed. Good night. Have a good Tuesday.